very warm day out there today before the heat wave comes to an end. I'll have all the details coming up shortly.
So much to talk about today. My name is Eamon Holmes.
Yes, and I'm Anne Diamond, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Now, in about 7 or 8 minutes, we've got a big interview coming up, and it's, I think, somebody really important in world terms.
Yeah. She's called Dame Claire Bertschinger, and you may not know her name, but she is the nurse in the original report. It was a BBC Michael Burke report, wasn't it, on the news, that inspired Bob Geldof and others to actually do something about the terrible famine in Ethiopia. But you and I were just talking about it, and you were 7
I was 7
when it happened.
Give my age away.
Yeah, oh, well, I'm sorry about that. And yeah, that's true. And everybody, I mean, so many people who we work with backstage there. There she is, look. That was it. She was in the original report talking about what a terrible job she had in a way, because she knew she couldn't save the lives of every baby in front of her. So she had to make a choice. And obviously, if you're trained in that, and that was her specialty, you have to make a choice between those who you can help and others who you know you can't help.
What a choice to make.
Unbelievable. And that was the amazing shot of the place just outside Ethiopia, well, outside Addis Ababa, 2 or 3 hours drive, I think, from there. That inspired Bob to get something done. And that, first of all, got Band Aid, the record, done. Do they know it's Christmas? Yeah. And then, of course, then he thought, what else could we do? It's even bigger, make even more money. And he came up with Live Aid, and it worked. It was incredible.
They repeated it on BBC Two yesterday.
Yeah, I know, I was watching.
So if it's brought back memories for you, if you have memories, let us know. In other news, of course, women's single final at Wimbledon, Aidan. And Aidan, here, but without talking about the result, could I talk about the time that it takes? It was all over and done in less than an hour.
Yes, 57 minutes. Now, I don't want to criticise Iga Swiatek here. She did her job. She swatted away her opponent.
Yeah, she
was at the top of her game. But goodness me, you're going to feel shortchanged if you paid for a ticket on centre court yesterday.
What would you pay? What could you pay?
Between £240 for a cheap ticket and anything up to about £315. They're just in the seats. That's not include what you might pay for the posh seats and debentures, all the rest of it, which Wimbledon does a roaring trade in, by the way. But the men's doubles as well, 2 sets, that was finishing. So you're seeing 2 matches of tennis, and I reckon you're probably not seeing more than about not much over 2 hours.
So is your point, why don't women play best of 5 sets the way men do?
I've said it for years and years and years.
Because they get paid the same money.
£3 million Iga Swiatek got for winning yesterday. It's not a bad hourly rate.
It's the first time, actually, it's the first time ever we've had a woman champ who's won 6-love, 6-love.
Yes, that's right, at Wimbledon, yes. Yeah. But Steffi Graf set the record for the quickest final in 1988 when she won the French Open in 34 minutes against Natasha Vareva.
She was there. Did you see her?
Yes, I did.
She was in the Royal Box.
It's good to see her. But, I mean, I just think the idea that these elite athletes cannot play 5 sets at the top end of the biggest tennis championship, well, one of the biggest sporting events in the world, is fanciful.
Hold that thought. Your views very welcome. Have your say.
Oh, the other thing just worth noting is that Catherine was there.
Yes.
Thank goodness she was there, and she looked absolutely wonderful. And I got a standing ovation just as she walked in. It was a lovely moment.
Leading the news this morning, politics. Keir Starmer facing criticism this morning over what's being branded a surrender deal with France.
Yeah, the Prime Minister is promising a new era of cooperation after signing that migration deal with President Macron. But the Tories are saying, well, it's not just the Tories, nearly everybody's saying, the agreement is just about photo opportunities and there's really very little substance. And some are warning that it literally will not stop a single vote.
Now, there's not a lot of people that are going to really disagree or argue with that. We can reveal that more than 1,200 migrants crossed the Channel since that deal was signed on Thursday. That's 1,200 since Thursday, 300 more attempting the crossing yesterday morning, and the Prime Minister's hitting back, accusing the Conservatives of insulting the French. Sorry, I'm sort
honestly,
of laughing.
Yeah, well, me too, the very idea.
I mean, as if Starmer's popularity is lower than Boris Johnson's ever was. And how long can he go on? How long can he go on with this? But anyway...
Anyway, we mustn't insult the French.
No, we mustn't do that. Joining us now, we'll let him insult the French, political commentator John Oxley. John, the whole thing, the point I'm really trying to make is, and this is what disgusts me, and I mean disgusts me with Starmer, I believe it's all about the stage with him, it's all about the show, it's all about hugging, which I can't stand, hugging Macron, and is it all about a global image rather than fixing the problem?
I think, to be fair to Starmer, there are moves in here that are going towards fixing the problem. But
how's it going to fix the problem that he's come up with this week? You can't sit and say, "Oh, that's it solved."
It's not solved at all. As you said, the scale of the problem is just huge. But what we've seen over the last 5 or 10 years as this has been bubbling up is repeated governments have failed to do anything to stem the increases in migrants. The only thing that seems to change it is how good the weather across the Channel is. And so all of these deals, the problem is you need some cooperation, you need more cooperation, but anything you can do is so small compared with the numbers that are coming across. And ultimately, the position is the French don't want these people sat around on their beaches. They have every incentive to let them get across to become our problem. And so it's very hard to do a deal that deals with it substantially.
Yeah, and all the while, it's like we're being gaslit, isn't it? That we're being told that we've done this deal with France and it's going to make a difference and we've been paying them all this money anyway. We see one little sequence of them stabbing a boat to deflate it, and we're expected to believe that this making a difference. Nothing seems to be making a difference.
No, and the real test for this will be how quickly these removals back to France start happening, whether they start happening, when they start happening, and if that has any sort of deterrent effect on the boats coming across. The difference with this deal compared with what's happened in the past is it's opening this idea of safe routes, so people with legitimate claims can stay in France, they don't have to get on a boat, and they can make an application, which should allow us, although it doesn't really help with the numbers, does allow us at least more scrutiny over who's coming across. But then for the people who know they're not going to pass those tests, there's still every incentive to hope you slip through the net on the other side of the Channel by getting a small boat and by disappearing into the black economy in the UK.
And we're talking about such small numbers that even if it did work, it would be very small numbers compared with the numbers of people actually clambering aboard the dinghies and making it successfully across.
Yes, that's right. And what we're seeing is a lot of those do slip into the grey economy, the black economy. They end up working illegally, living illegally here, and we're losing track of them. And so one of the other things that the government really needs to focus on is that big backlog of asylum claims that has built up because of this, and what you do with those people whose claims fail. I mean, the government has been deporting more people, but it is still less than are arriving in these big waves of boat arrivals.
They're missing a trick, though, aren't they? If they really are deporting more people than ever before, we're not seeing it, are we?
No, we're not. But the planes are going. And I think one of the difficult things for the Labour Party is, because of their own internal politics, they don't want to shout about it too much. But we have seen a big increase in deportations over the last year. I'm not sure what the number is.
Do we know where to?
I mean, it depends where these people are from, ultimately. Yeah. So I don't know.
So this government is almost ashamed of the success they have had so far.
Yes.
Because it could offend some of the presumably further left people within their own party.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not only that, immigrants, John, will carry ID cards under plans being worked on by the government. Seeing this reporting in The Sun today. The digital document will prove their right to live and work and be uploaded to their telephones with this. So this is not about organising to have people sent back. This is organising to have people
stay here.
Yeah.
Yes, but what this means in theory is it should be easier to police. Are all the systems that are... so when you rent a house, when you get a job, are you producing the right documentation? And so this is kind of the carrot to make it easier for businesses and for legal migrants to do that. And presumably, knowing the Home Office, to have a crackdown on businesses who are flouting these rules and are giving jobs to people who don't have a right to be here.
Okay. John, we'll hold all that you have had to say. We'll get people to comment on it. Get in touch, have your say on what John's had to say, and he'll be rejoining us again after 7 o'clock this morning.
Now, I don't know if you're old enough to remember, but Live Aid, what an amazing phenomenon it was 40 years ago today. It was the groundbreaking concert, held mostly in London, also in Philadelphia, though, aimed at raising much-needed funds for the famine, terrible famine that was going on at the time in Ethiopia.
It's funny you say about Philadelphia. Phil Collins played at Wembley Arena, got on the back of a motorbike, went to
Heathrow,
got on
Concorde.
And then played in Philadelphia, all on the same day.
They wanted to emphasise the fact that the world is smaller than you think and we should all be playing our part in it, I think. Yeah, he made it to Philadelphia. Now, look at that young lady there. She was a nurse who was working at a feeding centre at the terrible camp of starving people. You'll see that one of the shots next shows the extent of the famine, and she had to make a decision about who should get... Look at it. It's no wonder it was stunning at the time. It was a BBC report. It was done by a reporter called Michael Burke, who you may still know, still works. And she explained to him the terribleness of her job, really. She's called Claire Bertschinger. She's now a dame. She worked as a nurse right there in the middle of it all. And that report and what she said in it is what prompted Bob Geldof and then Midge Ure, who joined him, to organise what they called the greatest show on earth. It probably was. After watching her, they decided, we can't just look at it. We have to do something.
Well,
and they got together, first of all, Band Aid, which was the record, and then Live Aid.
Claire, good morning to you. An absolute honour to meet you. And forgive me, Claire, but I didn't know you existed, and you didn't know, really, that you'd existed and achieved so much for 20-odd years, I hear.
No, that's right. No, because after Ethiopia, I was so... well, people were saying they'd seen me on the television. They were saying that I had a fantastic job and how wonderful saving all those people. When I came home, I was there for a year, you see, and I said, no, it was awful. I felt vilified. I felt it was my fault that all the ones I turned away. And because they weren't listening to me about the reality of the situation, I decided to stop talking about it for 20 years. And it was only on the 20th anniversary when I was contacted by the BBC to turn that I went back and saw what Bob Geldof had said, because they'd filmed him. And I thought, oh, wow. And I thought he was the only person who really empathised with what I had said. He understood about the suffering and all those who had died.
And that's why he wanted to do something. But your words at the time were that it was absolutely heartbreaking, your job, because look at all those people, and there was no way you could had enough food to help them all. So you had to make a decision about, well, little babies for whom the food might save their lives, and other little babies for who were already gone, really.
Yeah, it was terrible. I can remember one day in particular where I discharged several children and I had room for 50 or 60 more, and I only had 500 in the feeding centre, and outside the feeding centre I counted 10 rows of children, and in each row there was 100 children. That's 1,000 children, and I had 50 or 60 places. How was I going to choose? And I said to the local Red Cross people who were working with me at the time, you better go out and choose them to come in. And they said, we can't do that. That's our brothers, our sisters, our cousins. We know them. You're going to have to go and do it, Claire. So we got together and decided that they would be put in lines, and I'd go up and down the lines to look at everybody and just take the ones with sort of a spark of life in their eyes, because I knew the ones who were really severe just wouldn't survive the night.
I know when Michael Burke rocked up with his television crew, you weren't terribly enamoured with him, really. You weren't very impressed. But in the end, you realised that he asked the questions and got the answers, and it made a difference.
It certainly did, yes. He said something like, how does it make you feel choosing who can come into the feeding centre and who you're going to turn away? You know they won't survive. I thought, what a stupid question he's asking. What do you expect? It breaks my heart. And I couldn't get rid of them fast enough because I had, screaming kids around, some wanting to feed, some not wanting to feed with diarrhea and vomiting. And so I just got rid of them as fast as possible.
And the world changed and the situation changed because of that question and because of your answer. And am I right then in assuming that when Live Aid happened, you weren't part of it? You didn't really know what was going on there?
Not at all, not at all. I'd never been to a concert before in my life. I had just returned to the UK after a year in Ethiopia, and I saw all these people and singing and dancing, and it was when the film came on of Burhan, who was the girl who was being carried in her father's arms near death, that I had to turn the television off because I thought, I don't need to see this. I know what it's like out there. This is awful. So no, I didn't really understand at all that they were, that they were making money for Ethiopia.
And can you believe it's 40 years on? And of course, a lot of people are still wonder whether all the money raised actually did any good.
Well, in my opinion, whilst I was there, it did a tremendous amount of good. Within a few weeks of that film going out, I went out to Mekelle Airport. And before that, we got one big Hercules plane a month, which was about 20 tons, I believe. And after that, we got 2 or 3 a day of food.
Wow.
So
incredible.
Tremendous. And the food went to the people. What I saw, the food went totally to the people. And Live at Band Aid, which was formed at that time, I've followed them since, and they've been very supportive of many charities that I know. And they have been, and I'd also look on the Charity Commission site of different charities that do help out, which is very important to see what percentage actually goes in the field and not, and what sort of organisations that they do support, and that's very important. And they do a tremendous amount of good, really at the grassroots level, which is very important.
Which is where it counts, yeah. I know.
Have you actually gone back to Ethiopia, and have things changed? And if so, how have they changed?
Well, I went back for the 20th anniversary, and I didn't want to go back. I was contacted by the BBC, and the last thing I wanted to do was to go back because I thought I'd be vilified. But I thought, well, I've got to somehow face these demons inside me. I went back and found there was new roads, new hospitals, universities, schools. It was fantastic. And I also met some of the children that had been in my feeding centre. Wow. And they had degrees and they'd been to school. And, some of them are nurses and doctors and engineers. Some of them had opened little shops and printing works and things. And that was wonderful. It was really, really wonderful. Yeah, lovely to see.
Yeah, and I know you're going to be meeting up with some of the Live Aid people this afternoon or tonight, aren't you? Are you meeting Bob?
Yes, I'm meeting Bob and the rest of the crew. I don't really know them, but yes, I'll be meeting this afternoon. They've got Just One Day, which is a theatre production. It's fantastic. I have seen it. It's absolutely fantastic. Very realistic, actually, but also not sad. It's very uplifting about the event. And also very important, over 10% of the profits to the theatre do go to Band Aid Trust. They've made nearly £1 million out of it. It's fantastic.
Yeah. And I think astonishing, which again you probably didn't see at the time, is that Bob Geldof kept reminding the audience, worldwide, huge global audience, this is not about free entertainment for you. This is about the money. You must give us the money. And he kept going on and on and on and hammering it home. And he was right, wasn't he?
He said it a bit more forcibly than that, Claire, but cleaned it up a bit.
Actually, he never said the F word in that phrase.
He did.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. And anyway, he kept saying, give me the money, you've got the money, do it now. And he was even saying things like, even if you haven't got the money, you're probably going to have some food tonight for your tea. Instead of spending it on you, give us the money. And he was right, and it worked.
Out there, they're not asking for a pair of new trainers or colour television. They're just asking for butter, oil, beans and flour. And the other thing that really hit me when I met Bob Geldof and his crew when they first came to Ethiopia, and I was talking to the crew and the administrators and things, every one of them had paid themselves to go over there. Band Aid do not pay for the flights or for them to go and do the surveys. They all paid for themselves.
Because you know
Real
that it's their
volunteers.
Know that you've spent the rest of your life advocating for children all over the world, sometimes for their health and everything, and you were made a dame by the Queen Elizabeth. And I know that you feel so strongly about it. That's your reason in life. But you, as a little girl, were inspired by a movie, a Hollywood movie called The Inn of the Sixth Happiness, weren't you?
Yes. The Inn of Sixth Happiness was Gladys Aylward, who wanted to go to China as a missionary, and she was refused because she wasn't educated enough. And I myself got dyslexia, not very educated. But I can remember in the film, she had all these children around her and she took them away from the fighting across the mountains, singing songs, and saved all these 1,000 children. And I thought, oh, I could do that.
And you have. You have. You did.
Amazing.
Yeah. What an amazing life you've had, but what a wonderful thing to have inspired the movement in the first place, but to have spent your life advocating for children all over the world, particularly those who are starving. It's not surprising.
You changed their lives,
Yeah.
and that's the important thing, but you changed our lives as well and how we view giving and being involved in these sort of things. And it was an absolute privilege that you did what you did, and good luck today with what you're doing in the reunion.
Yeah, go on. What are you going to say?
I wanted to say that we can all make a difference. It doesn't take a nurse or a pop singer to make a difference. We can all make a difference. You know, think globally, act locally, and do something to help. It's like a chaos theory where like a pebble in a pond which ripples out.
Yeah.
And so we can all make a difference to the whole world. We care about recycling paper and the ozone layer and our planet. Well, I also care about the people the other side of the world, and I think we're all human. So we stop this killing and start caring. Starts with us.
You're an inspiration still. Thank you so much for joining us.
Privilege to talk to you. Thank you.
Claire, will you do me a favour? When you see Bob, will you give him my love specially? Because we worked together on a lot of this 40-odd years ago, and I haven't seen him for ages.
Okay, thank you, Anne.
Thank you so much. There you are.
Thank you, Claire.
That's Dame Claire Birchinger there. And if you didn't know her name before, you certainly will remember it now.
Right, I'm seeing Bob get
You're trying to prove me wrong, and I'm telling you, he never said it.
Well, what do we see?
Numbers, because that's how we're going to get it. Please stay in and give us the money. There are people dying now, so give me the money. Just the numbers. Read them out.
So where did that come from?
Because he said the word a lot.
Oh, did he?
But he didn't say it in that phrase.
Stay in and give us the money.
Give us the money.
It's a myth that he ever said, give me the effing money. He didn't. He said, give me the money time and again. And he used the F word a lot in the rest of the interview.
But you said it.
I didn't say it.
Right, OK, let's get the weather picture. A lovely day it was yesterday. Another, again, lovely day. What's it going to be like today?
Heavy showers first thing will be followed by a warm, cosy day. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good morning and welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Well, it's going to be another very warm day on offer with sunny spells before turning more changeable as we go through Monday. So through this morning then, we still have some low cloud just hugging eastern coast, but for many it's a warm start to the day with plenty of sunshine, a bit more cloud in the forecast compared to Saturday, and we may see a few showers just bubbling up across parts of Wales and into England. Otherwise, it's still warm out there, highs of 29, 30, possibly 31 degrees, just not as hot as Saturday, and always cooler along that eastern coast. So through Sunday afternoon then, there's a few showers just bubbling up across the south of Scotland, but for most it's fine, it's dry with just some low clouds still lingering across those eastern coasts. Across Northern Ireland, initially it's fine and dry, but we have got showery outbreaks of rain soon moving in. So sunshine turning hazy as well for the far southwest of England with some showers here. Otherwise, majority of places staying dry. So as we go through Sunday evening, the return of low cloud across the North Sea and into eastern areas. Otherwise, low pressure becoming more dominant with showery outbreaks of rain moving in from the west and pushing its way north and eastwards. But it's still going to be a warm and muggy night to come, with again temperatures holding up at around 17 or 18 degrees. So Monday is when we start to see the change in our weather. Low pressure becoming dominant. We'll see showery outbreaks of rain initially across Northern Ireland, into western parts of Wales, and then into northern England and into Scotland. Heavy downpours, perhaps even with the odd rumble of thunder. Driest across the southeast, where it will still stay warm but cooler elsewhere. Bye-bye.
There will be a light breeze in the morning, leading to a warm front. Boxed heat pumps, sponsors of weather on GB News.
No, it's fascinating sitting talking to Anne here about her involvement in the whole Live Aid thing as a reporter. And I remember as a viewer sitting in Belfast watching the whole concert that day. But it could have been you could have been involved in that concert, but weren't. Why?
Well, in the concert, in the end, the BBC took over, and I wasn't working for the BBC at the time. I was working for TVAM. But what really annoyed me is that I was going to go out to Ethiopia with Bob the first time, and so we queued up together at the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine to get our jabs, because you had to have a lot of jabs to go to Ethiopia then, and we went to lots of talks. We were given talks by Oxfam to tell us about what to expect when we got to Addis Ababa. For instance, I mean, it was just, they said you've got to understand that the nature of famine is that the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. So when you get into Addis Ababa, you'll be staying at the Hilton, which had happy hour between 6 and 7 in the evening.
Really?
And yet 2-3 hours up the most appalling roads were the camps where the people, thousands upon thousands of people, were starving to death.
Gosh.
And they said, we said, how can that be? And they said, the nature of famine is that the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. You've got to understand that, and you've got to harden yourself to it in a way. And so we went through all of that together, and then Bob and I went off to the London School of Hygiene and got our injections. And then our technicians at TVAM decided they would black the whole operation. And in those days, that's what unions could do. And they just said, no, we won't do it, because they wouldn't, Oxfam wouldn't give us a big enough crew. And in those days, the number of people in a television crew was, sacrosanct, so you couldn't go. So I couldn't go in the end. And I mean, that was crushingly upsetting. But even more upsetting was when Bob got to Addis Ababa, he was met by Mother Teresa. I mean, I would have done anything, but there you go. Yeah. But what was wonderful is that then he got the big idea of doing the concert, and then Michael Grade at the BBC said, all right, we'll take it on. And so I was sort of edged out a bit. Didn't matter. It was a wonderful thing that happened. But it was an amazing time. It was an amazing time. And what a wonderful, incredible day it was too.
Right. We'll go to the break. Aidan, after that, what have we got?
Plenty of stuff going on today. We're going to reflect on the Wimbledon ladies final yesterday. Iga Swiatek winning in 57 minutes. We've got the men's final today. We've got the Club World Cup final involving Chelsea, which Donald Trump is going to be at the MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. And the Lionesses face Wales in St Gallen, needing just a point to get through.
See you right after this. Hope you'll be with us.
This is our country, and we think it's amazing. From high tea to the high street, we love it all. Even the rain, we like that too. There's nowhere else we'd rather be. That's why we're here to be the fearless champion of Britain, its voices and its values. Because we are GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5.
You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah.
Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight on the unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News.
the People's Channel?
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Right, Aidan is here with the sport. I was glued to the telly all afternoon. Well, evening, wasn't it, with the ladies' final?
You didn't blink and miss it, no?
No, that's the trouble. I thought, settle down and watch, and it was over in 57 minutes.
I know, it's not the record, as I mentioned at the top of the hour. 32 minutes was the record set in 1988 when Steffi Graf beat Natasha Zvereva in the French Open final. But nonetheless, you're going to feel shortchanged, aren't you?
Yeah.
If you pay up to £340 or
I don't know, I just felt so desperately sorry for Anisimova because she just could never get stuck in.
I think it was stage fright more than anything. She's not been at that level for quite a long time. She's had a brilliant tournament. But if you look at Swiatek, I mean, look, she's never achieved anything on grass since winning Wimbledon Juniors back in, I think, 2017 or something like that. But that's a 6th Grand Slam win for her. So congratulations for her. I want to rattle through everything else as well because we've got Sinner and Alcaraz this evening in the men's final. Is that going to be the eminent rivalry going forward? We discussed yesterday, didn't we, some of the great rivalries in the past. Borg and McEnroe, Keenan Vieira, Cohen Ovett. I think this one might be one for the ages to match something like Federer and Nadal. And we've got the men did well in the doubles yesterday as well.
Yes, they did. First time in years.
It's 89 years since it happened. They won the men's doubles on the centre court before Swiatek took the stage. And they won it in straight sets. It was Julian Glass and Lloyd Glasspool.
And you've got the FIFA Club World Cup final today, which no one knows about, of course. And Chelsea are there, but Donald Trump's going.
He is, yeah. Well, there's an understandable reason for him to be there. It's because the World Cup was awarded to America on his watch in his first term. There was some horse trading that went on. Gianni Infantino, the chairman of, or the FIFA president, really wants this tournament to fly. And in exchange, Trump has agreed to go to it. It doesn't look like it's not, in American terms, it's not a huge sporting event. But if the World Cup's going to be there next year, he's got to be seen to back it. Back it. No question about that.
Good man, Aidan. See you again shortly. Thank you very much indeed.
Yes, we're whizzing through because we're going to go through the papers next with Emma Wolf and Alex Dyke. There they are doing their homework. Oh, no, they're not even doing anything, for heaven's sake. But we'll be back with them in just a couple of moments.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
Now imagine this. You spend your entire life dreaming of public service. You work your way up to become the Director of Public Prosecutions. You then become a Member of Parliament, and just next to your constituency is a world-famous museum hosting
I'm imagining it, Tom.
waxworks of famous figures, and you dream that one day you will be featured in this mausoleum, for want of a better word. You become Prime Minister, and you think now, finally, my waxwork will be on display at the world-famous Madame Tussauds. And then they say no.
And then you find out that Theresa May has one.
Oh.
Yes, so Madame Tussauds, there's Theresa May. There she is in her suit.
Yeah,
she was always one for colourful outfits,
Theresa May has a waxwork there, so does Boris Johnson, of course. It's reasonable to expect the Prime Minister would have thought that he would join the likes of David Cameron, Theresa May and Boris Johnson with a waxwork.
Winston Churchill.
Yeah.
Winston Churchill has one. Harold Macmillan apparently was previously displayed. Tony Blair.
Of course.
Tony Blair, of course. But apparently, so Madame Tussauds can't be sure that he'll still be relevant in 5 years' time. That's the reason.
Is that why they've said it? No.
They can't be sure, so they don't want to put the money into it, presumably.
Wow.
I could imagine Keir Starmer commissioning his own.
And yet, Lord Salisbury had a waxwork, the Marquis of Salisbury, Harold Macmillan and David Lloyd George, of course. But the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland...
Think about this.
...does not have a waxwork because he's not relevant.
A spokesperson told the Metro, "We have no current plans to make a figure of the British Prime Minister."
GB News, the People's Channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off-limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. You're watching and listening to Breakfast this morning with Eamon and Anne. Let's take a look at some of the newspaper front pages. Are we going to look at the front pages? Yeah, we're looking at... No, we're not looking at the front pages. Right, fine. But anyway, we're looking inside and having a look at the other stories. We're joined by Emma Wolfe and Alex Dyke, and it's lovely to see you both. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Emma, let's quickly look at the Telegraph front page, because they're saying that anti-Semitism is rife amongst the middle classes.
Yeah, this is a really worrying report. It was commissioned by, it's a government-commissioned report, but it's sort of led by the Board of Deputies of British Jews. And actually two people that we've heard of, Lord Mann, who is the government's anti-Semitism advisor, and then on the other side, Penny Mordaunt. So it's not a kind of, left-wing bias in any way. It's absolutely quite a balanced report. And its findings are really, really quite alarming. It's not just the kind of inconsistent policing of the protests that we've seen, the noisy protests that we've seen ever since the October 7th attacks of 2023. Amazing to think that's 2023 already. Yeah. And those kind of high-profile protests that we see, and but at a lower level, at a much more personal level, they spoke to many, many Jewish people in this country who say that this anti-Semitism has become completely normalised within their professions, within middle-class professions, and they're talking about the NHS, education, and the arts, this sense of that it's absolutely a kind of the acceptable face of discrimination.
What the heck can we do about it?
Well, isn't this those hummus-eating, guilty middle-class people that go to Glastonbury? Isn't it that lot? And I mean, this has been going back... to unpick this would take all day, because it goes back centuries. But isn't a lot of this to do with economic envy? I think that's what a lot of it is rooted in.
Is that what you'd think? That it's become more common?
That it's become more common. I think you're right. There is a kind of lefty liberal sway, isn't there, towards, you go to Glastonbury at the weekend. I know families that go on the Palestine, the pro-Palestine marches almost as like a family event, very kind of middle-class thing to do.
And do they fully understand the complexity behind what they're doing?
And also what really, really happened and where all this started. And I think you also make a really good point, Alex, about, it goes back centuries, this idea that you can snigger at Jews as the moneylenders, the Shylocks of society. And to a great extent, Jews have just lived in our country privately with dignity without having to confront all that. But I think that, anti-Semitic incidents since October the 7th are at an all-time high. and hate crimes against Jews are at an all-time high.
Let's move on to the front page of the Mail, Alex. I'm sorry at home if you can't bear the words, but Prince Harry, there seems to be some sort of an attempt to make peace.
Yes, so this is, the Mail. King Charles and Prince Harry's senior aides have had this secret peace summit. Now, I was thinking, how can Harry come back into the fold while he's still married to Meghan? It seems to be difficult. Edward and Mrs Simpson all over again. And then I remembered, hang on, if the Gallaghers can do it, if Liam and Noel can go out holding hands in front of thousands of people after what they did.
But they're doing it for 400 million quid.
Yeah, they're doing it. They're reuniting for a tour.
Well, that's true, Eamon, but in quite a recent interview, Noel said Liam made it personal. When he started talking about my wife and my kids, you know, that was the end. And we all really thought it was the end, didn't we? But they've come back. But, yeah, millions of pounds were involved in that, but I don't know what
you may never really ever repair the relationship between William and Harry, but you can see that Charles is a father. Okay, and you can't get past the love.
And an elderly father.
Love.
And, you know...
Yeah, yes, an
Look,
elderly.
any family kind of rift. Families are really difficult things, and we've all had terrible family rifts and breakdowns and whatever, and this is really sad. So I thought, oh, this is good news. If you actually drill a little bit deeper, A, who's leaking this? B, if a father and a son cannot sit down and talk, I don't care whether they're King Charles and Prince Harry and they live thousands of miles apart, if they can't sit down and talk but their secretaries can, this does not bode well.
But it is said that Charles is worried that now Harry would leak the substance of the conversation.
That's what I mean. There is no trust left. Look at Spare. Look at what he did by writing that memoir and the Oprah interview and the other interview.
I know. How
and
do
the
you come back from all that? But do you think this is because they failed so badly in Hollywood and with Netflix that the only the only thing for them to do now is
it's
to come
about
back.
money again. Yeah.
They're desperate to get back on the, into that inner circle. But who can trust them when they are leakier than a sponge?
Sieve.
Yeah.
Sieve.
Yeah.
Right, let's talk about the forthcoming budget in October. And Emma, Rachel Reeves says she's going to use the next budget to increase business rates for stores, supermarkets and that sort of thing. Now, there's a £5 billion hole in the public finances. My point is, why don't they just leave it there? Why don't they just leave this £5 billion hole there? We'll get on, we'll keep doing what we're doing. We're paying it off bit by bit, slower than planned.
Try and encourage investment.
Why is the urgency to plug this hole?
And also, you end up doing what you don't want to do, which is discouraging business, encouraging shops to close down, killing off the high street even more.
That's not growth.
You've got your £5 billion black hole, you've got your £22 billion, I don't know where that one's gone, but anyway, you've got that one. She's got all her U-turns on welfare that she's been forced to do, winter fuel, all of that's costing her. But all of these idiotic policies are costing them more, like slapping VAT on public schools and then private schools, and then you end up, it costs more. Same with the pensioners. All the admin around the pensioner U-turn has ended up costing more. So this one is hiking business rates, probably on these big stores, to the highest, to the maximum possible level. Even stores like M&S, who are making a lot.
Well, what's going to happen?
Saying
it's shop workers are going to be let off.
Shops will close down, so you'll have empty properties. No one will be paying business rates, and M&S are saying we'll have to increase our prices.
I was at a pub yesterday, and the landlord got speaking to me, and he said, I said, how's business? And he said, well, business was fine until Rachel Reeves got involved and she's ruined my business.
Yes. And these are people who are actually trying to grow the economy, but also just trying to employ people with all the, economic benefits of that. Businesses are fleeing. Millionaires are fleeing. How can they carry on?
It's also the eyesores that are left. So I spend a lot of time in Southampton, and we had a massive Debenhams that had been built in the late 50s, early 60s, a nice kind of brutalistic building, which now is all the windows have been smashed. It's just a massive eyesore in the city, and there's tons of them around.
And these high streets are being hollowed out. People then don't bother. They sit at home on Amazon.
Everybody's high street is mostly dominated by charity shops because they're subsidised.
Or Turkish barbers.
And vapors.
Well, yes, it's
and
not.
shops.
It's changing the very. They're not supporting business. She said she was going to support business and encourage growth, and this doesn't seem to be doing that.
OK, well, we're going to be doing lots more of this right after the break. Emma and Alex will be back with more stories from the papers. And if you're in search of some holiday sun, here's the forecast.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello, well, there's plenty of hot and sunny weather across Europe, but there are still some showers out there for some of us. Across Madeira, sunny spells, some outbreaks of rain. Canary Islands, a mixture of sunny spells too. Plenty of sunshine across Portugal and Spain, with some showers across the Alps. Across the Greek islands, plenty of sunshine here and feeling hot. And that continues as we go through the week. Plenty of sunshine with temperatures into the low 30s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here.
I'm Michelle Duke, Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel. At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hello there to you on this very sunny Sunday morning. You're very welcome. You're watching and listening to Breakfast with Eamon and Anne.
And we're going through the papers with Alex and Emma. And let's go to the Mail again. Midyear has given an interview to the Mail saying Live Aid, which of course it's the 40th anniversary today, wouldn't happen nowadays. Why?
Well, this is to do with... He says this is to do with technology and screens. So he thinks we're all too busy on these days to make Live Aid work. I mean, I don't agree with that, because I've just mentioned Oasis. Look how big that is. Last summer it was Taylor Swift. There's the Hyde Park summer gigs. There's big gigs all around the world. I think the problem now, the issue now, is there's too much music. There are too many festivals.
Too easily accessible.
Exactly. So we've reached saturation point. 40 festivals this year have already gone bankrupt.
See, Alex, you make a very, very good point there. 40 years ago, which you'll remember, and Anne, I don't know if you remember, Emma, you was too young.
Too little.
It was such an event for us. It was an event. So I can literally remember from a TV point of view, sitting down on the Saturday, watching, say, oh my gosh, it's 11 o'clock in the morning, and, whoever Paul Young's on or whatever. It was incredible. Yes, all happening now.
But what was interesting, particularly about Paul Young, is that he'd never played a big, enormous arena before, which is a sort of reason why Queen absolutely slaughtered it, because, they were absolutely walked up, because arena gigs were what they were about. But Paul Young said he was terrified when he went out on that stage. He'd never seen so many people in his life, because a lot of these young stars were recording artists.
Yeah, sure.
And they didn't do big gigs until Live Aid.
I had to laugh last night because I've started to watch some of the best of on BBC Two, and the BBC have done a great version of it, but they had to spoil it all by putting up a message to say, please don't give any money. And I'm looking at the screen. And there's credit cards that we've not used for 40 years. There's banks that have closed. Yeah. And the BBC are saying, don't phone in and donate your cash.
But you've got to understand, people are quite stupid.
Well,
you can never underestimate how stupid people are.
No, or how generous. Or how generous.
Yes, I know.
But also, the other thing is that people don't come together for these big events in the same way, because everybody's doing so many different things.
Yes.
And also, there was a photo, and someone showed a photo of Live Aid, and they said, 40 years on, everybody would just be there with their phones in front of them. And you know that thing when you go to a concert or any big event, everybody's there, or a museum or a gallery, everyone's got the phone in front of them.
The thing about the screens...
That wasn't there. No one had a screen.
No one had a screen.
Mitch is talking about screens. What Live Aid needed was big video, massive video screens. I went to see Michael Jackson 3 years later at Wembley, and we were halfway down the pitch, and there were no video screens. You couldn't see anything. I had to borrow this lady's binoculars
You're still in the moment. You still hear it.
But you can't see it.
Well, it was something else. It really was something else. It makes me tingle looking back at it now.
And Paul McCartney said that on his way to it, he said you didn't need to put a radio on in the car or anything, because you could hear it in everybody's house as he was going on, because of course it was brilliant weather that day. And he said everybody's windows were open, and you could hear Live Aid as you were going down the road. Amazing.
Incredible.
Yeah, it was.
Right, guys, good to see you again. 40 minutes time. Very enjoyable. Thank you very much indeed. Now, a beautiful weather picture ahead for you today. Let's have a look. Here it is.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good morning and welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Well, it's going to be another very warm day on offer with sunny spells before turning more changeable as we go through Monday. So through this morning then, we still have some low cloud just hugging eastern coast, but for many it's a warm start to the day with plenty of sunshine, a bit more cloud in the forecast compared to Saturday, and we may see a few showers just bubbling up across parts of Wales and into England. Otherwise, it's still warm out there, highs of 29, 30, possibly 31 degrees, just not as hot as Saturday, and always cooler along that eastern coast. So through Sunday afternoon then, there's a few showers just bubbling up across the south of Scotland, but for most it's fine, it's dry with just some low clouds still lingering across those eastern coasts. Across Northern Ireland, initially it's fine and dry, but we have got showery outbreaks of rain soon moving in. So sunshine turning hazy as well for the far southwest of England with some showers here. Otherwise, majority of places staying dry. So as we go through Sunday evening, the return of low cloud across the North Sea and into eastern areas. Otherwise, low pressure becoming more dominant with showery outbreaks of rain moving in from the west and pushing its way north and eastwards. But it's still going to be a warm and muggy night to come, with again temperatures holding up at around 17 or 18 degrees. So Monday is when we start to see the change in our weather. Low pressure becoming dominant. We'll see showery outbreaks of rain initially across Northern Ireland, into western parts of Wales, and then into northern England and into Scotland. Heavy downpours, perhaps even with the odd rumble of thunder. Driest across the southeast, where it will still stay warm but cooler elsewhere. Bye-bye.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed home battery storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
£54,321 cash could be yours. Cash that you could spend however you like. It's like having an extra £1,000 each week for a whole year to play with. Someone is guaranteed to win this amazing amount of cash. So make sure that someone could be you. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Well, good morning. The Prime Minister is facing stinging criticism over his so-called surrender deal with France.
What do you think? Sir Keir Starmer signed a new migration deal with President Macron, but the Tories aren't convinced, saying it's more about photo opportunities that lack substance. Others warn the policies won't stop a single boat.
And since that deal was signed on Thursday, more than 1,200 migrants have crossed the Channel, with at least 300 more attempting the crossing yesterday morning.
But the Prime Minister standing firm when he's not holding and hugging Macron, accusing the Tories of insulting the French, and insists the deal will stop illegal migration in its tracks.
Now, it's been 40 years to the day since the greatest show on earth, Live Aid. We're looking back at the legacy of that concert. And in the next few minutes, in the last few minutes, we were speaking to the nurse who inspired Bob Geldof and Midge Ure to make their records, have the concert and try to feed the starving.
There's another anniversary today, a year since President Donald Trump was shot at a rally in Pennsylvania, defining image of the election. And many say it was the moment he won the White House again.
And would you believe it's the farmers again? They're furious after they've been banned from watering their crops during this heat wave.
In America, the search continues in Texas as the death toll rises to 129, 160 still unaccounted for.
And a child has died in Liverpool after contracting measles. There are huge public health warnings now about the dangers of declining the MMR vaccine.
And could this be the end of the royal rift? Well, the King and Prince Harry's aides have held a secret peace summit. What was discussed? Where will it lead to?
There was success on grass at last for Iga Swiatek as she cruised to victory on centre court. It meant her first Wimbledon triumph, and she did it in under an hour. There was success also for the Brits in the men's doubles, and elsewhere we look ahead to the Club World Cup final and the Lionesses' clash with Wales at the Euros.
Well, we'll see another very warm day out there today before the heat wave comes to an end. I'll have all the details coming up shortly.
Hello, a very good morning to you on this Sunday morning. I'm Eamon Holmes.
And I'm Anne Diamond, and this is GB News Breakfast.
I wake up and I come into this programme and I think, be positive today, Eamon. Shed some sunshine.
Yeah.
Don't bring negativity into people's lives. And then I hear that farmer's headline, amongst many others. Now, you're the farmer's, not, but hey, you're not to use any water on your crops, right? I know that might not be raining, but you can't use water to get your cabbages growing.
It's barely believable. They should be priority, actually, shouldn't they?
Oh.
And the other thing that gets me going is we mustn't insult the French. I mean, come on. Alors, juste alors.
It's only a joke, only a bit of banter.
No, because Keir Starmer thinks it's more important to pander up to the French than almost anything else, than allowing our farmers water to water the crops. It's crazy.
We're talking about Band Aid, Live Aid, 40 years ago, right, this weekend. And I remember, from my point of view, it was a really sunny day.
It was
very
hot.
sunny, beautiful day. I was in Belfast watching it all on television. And because it was such a novelty to us then, they didn't do things like that.
Oh.
This was, wow, amazing. Saturday morning, Saturday day, Saturday night. And then it was not only in the UK, it was in America.
In Philadelphia as well.
Yeah.
Actually, and it was all over the world. A lot of other countries did slightly smaller versions, of like telethons almost, but they joined in. It really was a global thing, and it did raise a lot of money. And we heard earlier from the nurse who inspired the whole thing, really. She said she has been on the ground and she has seen the money spent actually putting food in people's stomachs, and she said it was amazing.
And
so,
you talk
I mean,
about...
for the whingers who go on about it was a scam, it wasn't a scam. It really did work.
And it saved lives.
Would
you
it
talk
work
about
today, I wonder?
journalism that saves lives, and Michael Burke's report going amongst those dying people and how that changed lives. And
it was interesting how Bob Geldof got those bands involved as well, wasn't it? Some of the really big ticket names.
How did he get all those names and all those bands
Well,
involved?
apparently, he actually said this in an interview, probably on the 20th anniversary, which would have been, 2005. I remember looking at it and he said, I said to some of these big acts like U2 and etc., and he said, like, you know, I'm going to... can you do it? And he said, and they said, oh, I don't know, it might interfere with our tour schedule. But he put them on the list anyway, and they couldn't get out of it once they'd kind of committed to it.
But he also rang up some, like he would ring up Boy George and say, you know what, Dire Straits are doing it, and Ultravox are doing it, and I mean, he would lie completely, and so in the end he got somebody on board, and then he was able to use their name. But it's in his book. The book is, I don't know if it's still in print, but it's really good. The book is called Is That It? Because at the end of the whole gig, when they were literally just, everybody had gone back in their helicopters and gone on with their work, and he was beginning to go around the backstage bit and shut the gates and all the rest of it, and Paula. And there was a little boy at the gate, and the little boy turned up and he said, is that it? and so he called the book Is That It? It's just a lovely book if you can get hold of it. It's
Good,
really good.
OK. The news story today, we're leading with politics. There it is, sort of summed up in the Express. Prime Minister's deal with France won't stop a single boat. That is their headline there. Here to discuss that in the studio with me, political commentator John Oxley, with all of this. John, who's saying this?
So this is coming from the opposition, really, from both Reform spokespeople and from the Conservative Party. The Labour Party's response is sort of, well, they would say that they're the ones who are worried that our deal is going to work and it's going to take this attack line away from them.
Yeah, it's what we all fear and wonder, isn't it? The idea of one in, one out, but lawyers are going to get involved wherever there is somebody being forced to do what they don't want to do. And there's also this.
Look, let's face it, it's a rubbish scheme.
Well,
it's rubbish. Nobody reports in this and believes this actually has a chance of working.
No, that's right. As I was saying that earlier, do you think we're being gaslit over this? This is just something that's making a few headlines to keep us quiet.
I think certainly the deal is going to take effect in some way, but it's about bridging this sort of cooperation and trying to get France to do more, but it's very much a first step. And I don't think there's any real evidence it's going to deal with the scale of the problem. As your reports were saying, there's hundreds of people coming over, and these deals just can't move quickly enough. And
hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands and whatever. But tell me this, John. Why does France not really want to do anything?
It's quite good for the French if these migrants are coming over to Britain, because otherwise they're their problem. They've come all the way through Europe. They get stuck in and around Calais, and the French have to deal with them, and that costs them money. They have to find a permanent solution, and it's quite hard for them as well to deport these people to wherever they originally come from. So if you are the French government, if you're the French state, it's quite handy for you that these people you don't really want get on a boat and come over and become Britain's problem.
Yeah, and there's even some reports today, and I'm not sure that it's been verified, that the deal, this one in, one out, the French will decide who they want to take. And if they don't like the look of them, they won't take them.
That's quite possibly true, and it's one of the issues
So if you've got somebody that we have rejected because, like, they're a multiple rapist back home, known for violence and all the rest of it, and we say, all right, France, you can have that one, France say, no, we don't want him.
Yes, and that's the difficulty, because for a number of these people, either because of the conditions that they come from or because the state they're originally from simply won't accept them, you have this sort of class of the least desirable migrants that no one really wants in their country, that are very hard to send anywhere. And basically, it's that thing that wherever they are, they're the people who are going to have to deal with them, because no one's going to volunteer to take them off them. And if you're the French, you want them coming over here. And if you're British, you want them staying in France.
Well, John, another part today, part of this Sunday Express story here inside, and this appeals to the cynic in me who tends to believe this. They're saying the Prime Minister's focused on his global image, not fixing the crisis. And this man really seems... I mean, this nonsense with hugging Macron every 2 seconds. Oh, I haven't seen you in 15 minutes. Give me a hug. Give me a hug. It's absolute nonsense, and it's all about portraying some sort of, I don't know, camaraderie that exists between... Well, certainly if it exists between them, that's one thing. Existing between the two countries is another thing.
Yes, and I think something we've seen is...
Look at this nonsense. That makes me want to vomit. It really does. Who do you know that you want to hug like that, Anne? You don't even hug me like that.
No, certainly not on the steps of Downing Street. But the other thing, I mean, he did virtual hugs with Trump too, didn't he?
Yes.
I mean, isn't it easy to be a world figure rather than going around looking as though you're dispensing goodwill and invitations to come and have a royal visit? Isn't that the easiest part of his job, actually?
I think often it can be, and I think also it sort of speaks to, the bit of the job that he is most comfortable with. That's kind of the area that he's interested in, that he enjoys, and it does deliver some results, but it's not the same as getting into the details of policy. And one of the consistent criticisms, I think, of this government is there's no one really there at the centre who's really interested in the deep details of policy and really driving things. And that's one of the reasons why the government is so stuck at the moment on almost everything.
You could imagine Winston Churchill, could you, coming out and hugging Eisenhower or whoever the heck, or de Gaulle or whoever the heck it was. What a lot of nonsense. It really...
It's not what we want to see, is it? I think most people want to see action, particularly over the small boats and
I don't want them
the
friendly. I say, I'm going to do a deal with you. Are you going to do this deal? Shake hands,
Yeah.
right, or whatever. Well, this blooming kissing and
All right,
hugging
okay.
and nonsense. If I was only closer to you, John, I'd kiss you and hug you and say goodbye to you. But thanks for coming in today. Welcome. Really appreciate it. Your views welcome. Have your say.
I tell you what, it's an amazing thing today that it's 40 years since Live Aid. It's 1 year, can you believe, to the day, since the assassination attempt on Donald Trump in Pennsylvania, a moment that most of us will never forget.
How he survived that, absolutely amazing. I mean, you couldn't come closer to actually putting a bullet through his brain.
Well, about a centimetre, if that.
Yeah. Famous images there, captured just seconds after the incident. Trump, of course, pumping the air there.
Wasn't he incredible when he
was shouting, fight, fight, as Secret Service agents rushed him off that stage. But a lot of people are saying this actually won him the presidential election that was ahead.
Well, maybe not so much being the victim who was nearly killed, but I think it was that defiance, that, you know, punching the air with the blood on his face, and all of us staggering back thinking, half a centimetre closer, if he hadn't turned his head, the whole story would be so amazingly different. And you wonder what on earth could have happened. Anyway, with us now, Republican commentator Jennifer Ewing. It was the most amazing, incredible moment in history, wasn't it?
No, it really was. And it started the biggest political comeback ever in history. I think we can all agree. And it's difficult to imagine where we were 1 year ago. I know time goes so quickly, but 1 year ago, Joe Biden was still in the race, right? Because we'd had that debate. Yeah. And President Trump had not announced that J.D. Vance was going to be his running mate. Kamala obviously was not in the race yet. So a lot of different things. And I think the biggest thing that happened that day that most people, even people who were not fans of his before, said the way he reacted to that, you know, it exuded strength. Yeah. It exuded defiance. And he said, I've read, you know, in some interviews since then, what he said is, I wasn't thinking of myself as Donald J. Trump in that moment. I was thinking of myself, you know, in the office of the presidency. And, like, that's what I needed to portray was resilience and strength. And he was not carried off in a stretcher. You know, he walked off. And, of course, he yelled those three famous words. So, yeah, a lot of people respected him.
What were the three famous words?
Let me think. My notes are somewhere. No, fight, fight, fight.
I what they were. What did he say?
I'm a great student of JFK and his assassination, and I always think about that. And, you know, the difference between what happened to Donald Trump and John Kennedy, I mean, just inches.
Honestly, a centimetre.
Just incredible. And the man's brains blown out all over the back of that car. But just the way he took that situation and he owned that situation. Do you think actually then, for a lot of people watching who may have been undecided, they actually said, he's my man, he deserves to win after that?
I do. And, you know, that was, you know, I know he and Elon are not the best of buddies at this moment, but that was the defining moment for Elon. Mark Zuckerberg, also not a fan, you know, had invested a lot of money in the 2020 election against Trump. He came out and said that was pretty badass. So I think we'd gotten to a point in our country over the last 4 years under Biden where people felt weak, you know, both domestically and on the foreign stage.
Well, there you are. I mean,
and
it
just
front
felt
of you,
great.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Biden, who stumbled over his words and also over his feet.
And where is Biden now? Who talks about Biden now?
I know. And that, it's symbol of him punching the air and saying assassinations will not win. This sort of violence will not win. It was an easy choice for any wavering American voter.
I think it was. Yep.
Sorry, I was just going to say, getting back to the JFK situation, I mean, there's so much talk and belief in a conspiracy theory and that there were more than one shooter involved and whatever. We'll never find out the truth on all of that. But there's a conspiracy theory around what happened to Donald Trump that day and how easy it was for the shooter to take up position.
Yeah, you're right. And I think there's a report that has come out in the last couple of days basically saying that there was intelligence from the senior level of the Secret Service that was not passed on to the Secret Service on the ground or indeed the local authorities. So that is, you know, I don't think that's
in charge has resigned now.
Yeah, Cheeto resigned almost immediately after. Other people had been put on unpaid leave. But, you know, if you listen to some of the interviews when President Trump was talking to his daughter-in-law, Laura Trump, the other day, he was quite gracious about the Secret Service. I don't think anyone blames the men or women on the ground. I think it's more there was a big missing process. Why did that information did not get to the local authorities, the local people on the ground? I mean, that's a massive oversight. And also, we're not that, you know, the kid that did it was sort of cremated and gone, and that's a little strange. So it's almost interesting that we've not heard more about that.
You can read too much into it, though, I suppose.
Oh, I love reading too much into it.
Yeah,
I mean, actually, when you assume these things just happened, you realise, no, they didn't just happen.
Yeah.
There's somebody behind this.
Well, and there's definitely somebody behind this, and I doubt very much it was a 20-year-old kid, you know, that wanted to do this and just happened to get allowed on this roof. But also, the other thing is, you notice President Trump, when he speaks, he rarely has anything distracting the audience from him. He wants it to be about him. There's oftentimes very simple stages, but he had that chart. Remember, he was showing the chart, and he turned his head, and there, but by the grace of God, of course, he has said this is, you know, this can only be an act of, you know, divine intervention. He believes that we are a country that has faith in the United States, so that
also,
plays well with a lot of people,
I think if anyone had had their ear clipped by a high-speed bullet, they would, you really would, you would think it had to be divine intervention. Because there, but for the grace of God, I could a centimetre closer, and that would have been a JFK moment.
Exactly. And there was a failed attempt, what, a month or so later, so...
They found people in the bushes by his golf course and all sorts of things. I mean... if you're President of America, you have to live with that risk every single day of your life.
That is true. And also, there's no argument, he's the most divisive president we've ever had. So that plays into it as well. And I think, therefore, you know, there's security wherever he needs to go. But we do know that, you know, an over-politicized Department of Justice under Biden, you know, they went after him with every single legal matter they could, every single, calling him Hitler, calling him a fascist, saying all sorts of crazy things about him. It did not work. The American people, whether or not it's because, we remember going into the election, I think it was something like only 25% of people wanted to see the rematch of Biden versus Trump. So not to say he was ultra popular prior to this assassination attempt, but he was the best choice at the time, and I think he's far surpassed. His poll ratings are higher than any Republican president, including Reagan, at this point. You've probably seen, not to go too much into, you know, finance this early in the morning, but you saw this incredible surplus that we had announced yesterday, $27 billion. It's a 300% increase, and that's because of the tariffs. So that he's doing a lot of things right.
Yeah.
People are pleased with the border.
He's a man of action, and I think that is so needed in this world at the moment.
There's a good picture of the man of action.
Yeah. Yeah. Who's that? That's you.
Me.
Oh,
it's just like Donald Trump.
Hey, oh my gosh, was that a Halloween costume?
More or less. It was for a TV programme I was doing, but I was being
Sorry,
Trump.
just to share with you, that's a picture on his phone.
You have to show the audience. That's really good.
I don't know if you can zoom in.
I don't think you can zoom in
on this at all, but this is...
We'll maybe try and get it.
Try and on 5.
Anyway, you see, that is not Donald Trump, that is Eamon.
Great makeup.
They are, great makeup.
How weird is that?
There you go.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. It's always such a pleasure talking to you. And I know you go down particularly well with our audiences. They always say, oh, good, she's on.
Well,
so that's great. Thank you very much. 19 minutes
Thanks.
past 7. Let's get the weather now with the lovely Catherine Chalk.
Heavy showers first thing will be followed by a warm, cosy day. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good morning and welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Well, it's going to be another very warm day on offer with sunny spells before turning more changeable as we go through Monday. So through this morning then, we still have some low cloud just hugging eastern coast, but for many it's a warm start to the day with plenty of sunshine, a bit more cloud in the forecast compared to Saturday, and we may see a few showers just bubbling up across parts of Wales and into England. Otherwise, it's still warm out there, highs of 29, 30, possibly 31 degrees, just not as hot as Saturday, and always cooler along that eastern coast. So through Sunday afternoon then, there's a few showers just bubbling up across the south of Scotland, but for most it's fine, it's dry with just some low clouds still lingering across those eastern coasts. Across Northern Ireland, initially it's fine and dry, but we have got showery outbreaks of rain soon moving in. So sunshine turning hazy as well for the far southwest of England with some showers here. Otherwise, majority of places staying dry. So as we go through Sunday evening, the return of low cloud across the North Sea and into eastern areas. Otherwise, low pressure becoming more dominant with showery outbreaks of rain moving in from the west and pushing its way north and eastwards. But it's still going to be a warm and muggy night to come, with again temperatures holding up at around 17 or 18 degrees. So Monday is when we start to see the change in our weather. Low pressure becoming dominant. We'll see showery outbreaks of rain initially across Northern Ireland, into western parts of Wales, and then into northern England and into Scotland. Heavy downpours, perhaps even with the odd rumble of thunder. Driest across the southeast, where it will still stay warm but cooler elsewhere. Bye-bye.
There will be a light breeze in the morning, leading to a warm front. Boxed heat pumps, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Now, there's still plenty of time to grab your chance to win our biggest cash prize so far.
Never mind that. Never mind that. They've got my Trump picture.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Let's see it. No, this is in case you didn't see it close up. There it is. Now, is that Trump or is that me?
That's very funny.
That's the question.
Yeah. How much makeup? It's the hair, I suppose, as well, and also the pout. Very strange pout.
£54,321 could be yours. Have a go.
This is your chance to enjoy luxury this summer. It's our biggest cash prize to date, an incredible £54,321 in tax-free cash has to be won. What would you do with that? With all of that cash, you could just chill out, treat yourself, and indulge in the finer things in life, somewhere like here, Downhall Hotel and Spa. You really could win the cash giveaway of the summer. Go on, treat yourself.
For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14, PO Box 8690, Derby, DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Oh, very nice. Very, very nice indeed. Well, we've been reminiscing today. We've been collecting our thoughts on 40 years ago, 40 years since Live Aid, and what we're doing is we're looking back on the legacy of the greatest show that was on Earth next.
Five hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show. It's not a bad brand. Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Britain's Newsroom, weekday mornings from 9:30.
Well, we have found some peacocks, so we've been speaking to people today, hearing from them how much of a nuisance they say they are. It is a real mix, though, here. Some people saying that actually they're all right, they're part of the furniture of this village now. You can see this peacock here showing all of its feathers. I'm going to be very honest with you, we have just seen it attempt to mate the peahen that you can see behind it there. And this showing of feathers is part of the thing what they do to try, part of the mating call here as well, to try and show all of the feathers off and everything like that. And there's a thing that they do train rattling as well. I wonder if Mr. Peacock might talk to us. Mr. Peacock, would you?
Come on, Jack. Come on, Jack. We need you to get involved.
I'm not sure.
This is your
GB News, Jack
This is your
Carson?
big David Attenborough moment, Jack.
Any questions to say to the nuisance you might be causing people? Any response?
Although this feels a little bit intimate now. There's a bit of a moment going on. It's all got a bit voyeuristic.
Very happy to talk to us so far this morning, but some residents of Tutbury here have spoken to us this morning. Take a listen to what they've told us about what they think about all these peacocks.
They've been here longer than I have, so I've lived in the house I live in at the top here 47 years. They've been there all that time, because they were from the castle to start with. The people at the castle used to have them, and they're just part of the village.
I hate them. When they do all that damage, it's heartbreaking, you know. Yeah, round them up and take them to a farm or a zoo, where they're supposed to be.
They're like the furniture. They should stay around here. You know, people just need to let them get on with what they are. They're nature's animals, and they deserve to live around here, don't they?
GB News, the People's Channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Eamon and Anne here with you on a Sunday morning. Thank you very much indeed for your company.
Now, Live Aid was 40 years ago today, and it was the first of its type. It was utterly groundbreaking. It's quite dangerous to even try, but they pulled it off. It was held in London mostly, and then Philadelphia joined in, and it was aimed, of course, to raise much-needed money for the famine in Ethiopia.
40% of the world's population, they thought, tuned in to watch that day. The likes of, you see Freddie Mercury there, Paul McCartney, David Bowie was there, Led Zeppelin, they all
Bob
took to the
Dylan
stage.
in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Bob Dylan, I mean, legends.
What about the legacy of all of this? They called it the biggest day in showbiz. We're joined now by music producer and manager, Colonel Nick Stewart. Nick, very good morning to you. Lovely to see you.
Very good morning to the both of you. Thank you for having me on.
Not at all.
Tell us about your experience. I mean, what do you remember of it?
Well, first of all, I remember the original broadcast going out from Michael Burke, and I remember the whole thing starting with "Do They Know It's Christmas?" and watching the ball rolling down, beginning to roll down the hill, where the music business, and particularly those young artists of the time, gathered together to do something like this, which culminated in the day at Wembley and the day in Philadelphia. Now, the band that I signed at the time, U2, were invited to be on the London bill. They weren't that well known. They just released Unforgettable Fire, their sort of breakthrough album in '84. And they were one of the acts that came out of the show because people flooded into record shops on the Monday morning and said, what was the band, where the lead singer went out and got one of the girls out of the audience and put her on stage, which was what they did during the playing of Bad. The real thing that happened about Live Aid, and it's still happening now, is it changed the dynamic of what festival and rock music would be about for the next 40 years. And the catalyst for that was the most astonishing 18 minutes produced by Freddie Mercury and Queen.
Yeah.
And everybody talks about that. And I watched the whole thing again, actually, last night.
Yeah,
and looked at all kinds of memories and saw all sorts of people I hadn't seen for
Nick, the thing is, whereas an event like this is sort of normal now, we sort of see big concerts and, Beyonce or wherever it was, Michael Jackson,
Swift.
whatever it was, and but then this was different. There was nothing like this, and we've got to remind people of how innocent we were in those days, to have America linking up with the UK, to have people playing in two venues, London and America, with this. It was incredible. I mean, I don't know about you, Anne, but I felt it was I just hadn't seen anything like it before.
Well, no, nothing like that had ever happened before. I mean, Bob had a really tough time trying to convince Michael Grade at the BBC that it was even possible. No, I mean, it was 14 satellites were doing it, whereas previously for the royal wedding, I think only about 4 or 6 satellites. And it got the biggest ever audience a television programme ever has. So when you look back, Nick, I mean, do you see it as just a giant success, or are you a bit critical of certain factors of it?
No, I wasn't. That's a very good point you just made, by the way. Phil Collins played in London, jumped on Concorde, and there was a brilliant piece. David Hepworth, the host of the show's got the great Billy Connolly on, and they tried to have a phone call with Phil Collins on Concorde, which is utterly meaningless. And only Connolly could have called it out and said, I've absolutely no idea what they were saying.
Absolutely.
Collins got to the other side and played. He drummed for Eric Clapton doing Layla. He drummed, I believe, actually, for Led Zeppelin as well.
Yeah.
The Led Zeppelin set was not deemed by the band to be broadcastable, by the way, which is why they weren't on last night. That's a small. And then Collins did Bill Collins did In the Air Tonight, which was what was fascinating about it was who were the really big acts of the time. So, Philadelphia closed with Duran Duran.
Yeah. Would you agree that the most successful acts, the ones we absolutely remember, were the guys who had already played lots of arena gigs? They knew how to deal with an enormous audience.
Yeah. Very good, Anne. Very good. That's exactly right. And that legacy has gone on to do let all those acts still do it. So, up until quite recently, Paul McCartney was still playing, The Who was still playing, right? So David Hepworth, the host of the show, if you remember, has written a very, very good book about the day that changed music, which is Live Aid, in terms of hope I get old before I die, because when I joined, a quick word on this, when I joined the music business, 80% of the income came from new acts, 20% from legacy acts. That number is now exactly reversed.
Yes, I can imagine.
We live in a time of our heroes and heroines. By the way, fantastic to see Madonna.
Yeah, it's amazing that
again, another artist that she was singing like a virgin in Holiday. She'd got it, just got into her stride.
Well, Nick, we've got to leave it there, but thank you for your memories. Thank you for your involvement in all of this and for sharing them with us this morning. Always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you both. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
Yeah,
good morning.
Absolutely lovely. Thank you. Coming up, it's time for the sport.
It is interesting. I'm just thinking the goodwill there was towards all those dying people, the awfulness of what was going on in Ethiopia. And look what the mood is now. We don't talk about famines anymore. They still exist.
They do still exist.
They still exist, especially in Africa.
You see, that one would have gone by the wayside had it not been for Michael Burke's report.
And our nurse.
And our wonderful nurse.
Who we had on this morning.
We'll be replaying her a bit later on in the programme.
Yeah, we'll play her about 9:15
Absolutely
or so
amazing.
this morning.
Yeah.
OK, Aidan with us after this.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive.
I mean, this is very good.
It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dordme, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Just bringing you up to date with some football news. Crystal Palace, there was talk that they were out of the Europa League into the European Conference League. That may be about to change. There's going to be a contention with that, Aidan.
Yeah, they're going to appeal. I mean, we kind of knew that was going to happen. The problem is, Eamon, that it has to happen quickly.
On what grounds?
Because, well, there's two angles to the defence. The most interesting one, the most amusing one for me, is that they're claiming, Crystal Palace, that UEFA sent all their correspondence to the wrong email address. They sent it to a generic club email address, which would have been available in the handbook that UEFA and all the governing bodies around the world would see. Don't forget, Crystal Palace aren't that familiar to the major governing bodies of world football either, because they don't compete in European football very often. However, he said that they sent all this information to a generic email when they should have sent it to the individuals. Now, I mean, goodness me, how is somebody high up in UEFA meant to see that they an individual email address, steve.parish123@Crystal Palace, whatever. It's just not. It's nonsense. So that's the first part of it, and the second part of it we'll go on to later on. But it relates to the John Textor, the other director.
Let's just go quickly to the Wimbledon video so that we can show that while we sort your mic out, because it's crackling apparently. Shall we have a look? I don't know what is the video.
It's Iga Swiatek talking about her win in the
finals.
Oh,
brilliant! Yes, this is the champ.
Honestly, I didn't even dream, because for me it was just like way too far, you know. I feel like I'm already an experienced player, but after winning, you know, the slams before, but I never really expected this one.
Her dynamism and her energy never stopped.
I know, exactly. And look, we can criticise her for winning quickly, but that's not her fault. No, but you know what I'm saying? That the fans on the court would have been shortchanged in 57 minutes for the biggest game in the tournament. However, you can't criticise her for her performance. No. She did what she was asked to do, and she swatted away her opponent, and she looks every inch a grass court player when previously she didn't have much pedigree on that surface whatsoever.
And the poor girl, Amanda Anisimova, who didn't get a game. One game.
I know. I think
hardly a point. Frankly.
It looked like stage fright to me, and it looked like somebody didn't
she
feel
was
she
so
belonged.
upset. But when Catherine met her to give her her dish, apparently she said, because Anisimova said that Catherine said to her, held her on the arm, and she said, "Walk proud, hold your head up proud, because you've got every reason to be proud."
And do you remember when the Duchess of Kent said similar to Jana Novotná in 1993, and she came back 5 years later and won Wimbledon?
Exactly. So
we've got the men's final today as well.
It's quite something having to do an interview when you've just lost absolutely no games and hardly a point, and you're destroyed.
Who do you see in a minute? Who do you see as the winner of today's final?
I've got a feeling for Sinner. You know why? Because I think it'll be embarrassing for Wimbledon if he wins, because he was a subject
So
of
you think the embarrassment is going to happen?
But yeah, I think it will. And it's not a good look for Wimbledon that the two winners of the men's and the women were both done for doping earlier this year.
OK, good man. Thank you, Aidan. Really appreciate it.
It'd be worth
See you again later.
It won't be over in straight sets. I wouldn't have thought, would it?
Emma Wolf and Alex Dyke, very entertaining, very informative, and they're going to be reviewing the newspapers shortly.
But if you're in search of some holiday sun, here's the forecast for some of the top European destinations.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello, well there's plenty of hot and sunny weather across Europe, but there are still some showers out there for some of us. Across Madeira, sunny spells, some outbreaks of rain. Canary Islands, a mixture of sunny spells too. Plenty of sunshine across Portugal and Spain, with some showers across the Alps. Across the Greek islands, plenty of sunshine here and feeling hot, and that continues as we go through the week. Plenty of sunshine with temperatures into the low 30s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sunday mornings from 9:30.
She left office 35 years ago, which seems incredible.
God, that makes me feel really old. I remember being at school when she was deposed.
Oh, that makes me feel really old, because I was way beyond school.
Well, I was 47 yesterday, so...
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you. Carry on.
So there are three generations that have grown up that weren't alive when Margaret Thatcher was Prime Minister. And there are so many myths that have built up about her that... and part of the reason I wrote it was because my personal trainer, I broke my hip 2 years ago.
Yes.
So I had to get a personal trainer to the rehab. And he's 25, or was then. And when he found out what I did for a living, he said, well, Margaret Thatcher, I've heard of her, but who was she? What did she do? He didn't even know she'd been Prime Minister. And I was slightly horrified by this. So this is really aimed at those generations. You can't tell every aspect of her life in a book that size, but it really is an introduction to her. And the first sentence says, if you've read Charles Moore's 3-volume biography of her, please stop here. This book is not for you.
No.
So
it's an
covers most of the
introduction to her.
things.
And by the way, maybe that revelation by your PT does ask questions about the national curriculum and history teaching. They should do a section, shouldn't they, on our first female Prime Minister, arguably. But what's the challenge then when you're writing somebody's life up? I mean, and what a life she led.
Well, I found out that it's much more difficult to write a short book than a long book, because you really do have to be concise. I was told I had 30,000 words. I said, well, that's a pamphlet, not a book. So I stretched it to 45,000. But normally a biography would be 120, 150,000 words. So it really was quite a challenge to condense it all. And what do you leave out? I mean, I wasn't going to do a chapter on Northern Ireland, but as I was writing it, I thought, no, you can't do that.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, Dave. I'm so surprised. I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
We're delighted to have the company of Emma Wolf and Alex Dyke this morning, going through the newspapers with lots of good opinions. And Alex, I'd like to start. The Sun have this insight, and they're talking about migrants being given ID cards, which somehow makes them a bit more permanent, even when they are not.
Yes. Now, this, as you say, The Sun today, page 2, how you do this with people who've, in a lot of cases, chucked their passports and mobile phones and papers into
the ID away, yeah.
I don't know. I think the answer is, and don't judge me on this, please. A few years ago, when I was a lot younger, there was a bit of a brawl in a pub and we all got arrested. And I had my DNA taken. And I said to the policeman who was taking it, what happens to my DNA? He says, oh, it goes to a database in Florida. He said, you can never commit a crime. And I thought...
But that's not true, is it? I thought it was destroyed unless you were charged with a crime or found guilty of a crime.
Well, that's what he told me.
I thought your DNA sample was always destroyed.
Yeah, well, whether they do or not, I don't know. But I thought, hang on, isn't that a good idea? That really would stop people committing crime. If everyone had their DNA taken, it may sound a bit Big Brother to you.
It is Big Brother, isn't it?
But I think that would be a better solution to this than the ID cards, because how are they going to make this work? They think this is going to help.
But if you arrive and you've chucked all your documents in the sea, so you arrive and you can make up any name, you can say where any country you're from.
But you can't make your DNA up.
No.
No, you can't.
But what Anne's saying is that you can make up who you were before you give the DNA. So they don't know, they have nothing to test the DNA against. So you can say, my name's Jim Smith and I'm 32 years of age and whatever, but they've nothing to check that against. So he becomes Jim Smith from that day.
Are you saying I haven't thought this through properly?
No, well, surely we're saying that the ID card you'd be given, whether or not there's DNA attached, the ID card is meaningless because you've just made up. You've made up the details on it.
Of course it's meaningless. You could swap your ID card with someone else. I mean, what does an ID card actually do?
You can swap it with somebody or whatever, but it's like another useless...
The only thing it might do is stop you being employed.
OK, well, here's what I'm going to say.
Many of these businesses subcontract.
This government is doing nothing to curb the boats, to curb the migrants, right, and to smash the boats, whatever. So it just means in 4 years' time, they will lose the general election to someone who is going to promise to do this. And I believe this will be what the election will be won or lost on.
Oh, I agree on that. But how many people would then be in Britain who've got here by illegal means?
Yeah, hundreds of thousands extra.
Yes.
And it's not that we're not welcoming. It's not that we're not welcoming when people genuinely need sanctuary, when they are fleeing from
We welcome
war
good
and
people, but how do you tell
It is that we can't help genuine asylum seekers when we are...
Would you look at the help, Emma, from Live Aid 40 years ago, what people did? I just wonder what the reaction would be today. Has the public mood shifted in helping people?
I think the public mood is feeling at the moment, this one in, one out that we heard about during the week. Everybody I spoke to on the left and the right said, hang on a minute, at the moment, none in, and let's get some people out, and then we can reassess. But at the moment, we can't just keep accepting. What's the point of one in, one out anyway?
The ones we send back to France can say, actually...
we don't like them.
I don't think we want them back, and send them over. It's crazy.
It's not going to work. Have you met one person who thinks it's going to work?
No.
Because I haven't.
No.
So is the Prime Minister not listening?
But also the processing system isn't working. We know there are thousands of people who are just arriving in this country and then going somewhere else, getting lost in the system. And hundreds of thousands of people who are just waiting to be processed.
You may wait on getting a new car, especially if it's an electric car. Now, I am the sort of person that if I was to change my car, I'd feel obliged to get an electric car, but then I'd stop and I'd go, too much trouble. I don't know if electric's the way forward. It may be gas, maybe something like that.
Are you going to be able to charge it? Are you going to be able to drive for more than a few hours?
So the answer is I wouldn't do it.
I owned an electric car for a month. Never touch it in a million years.
Why, Anne?
Have you got rid of it now?
I got rid of it. Yeah.
Why? Why? What was the problem?
Well, with that particular car, I got rid of it because it had problems. But at one point, all the electrics failed on me in the middle of the road.
Is this the one you were really excited about a couple of months ago?
Yeah, I was really excited.
You kept looking at pictures on your phone.
And I was totally bought into the electric. I had, charging installed at home and everything. But the anxiety, the range anxiety, was terrifying because you think, oh my God, it's saying I've only got 8 miles left and I can't find a service station.
I have a friend who drives down from Stoke and regularly has to kind of factor in another hour at the petrol station to charge up, probably waiting in a queue for a couple of hours to get to that charging point. How can you drive like that?
No, you can't.
And
they haven't got it right yet.
Still sticking to the plan to rule out, to phase out all new diesel and petrol by 2030.
I'm sorry, I don't think we're ready. I've tried it and I'd never buy an electric.
I see
not all electric
any
at all.
charging points around where I am, and I'm in central London.
I discovered, that's why I got myself into a pickle. I discovered there are 3 different sorts of charging points as well. And so if you think...
you mean like one for Tesla?
Yeah, one for Tesla, one for something else, and one for something else.
So they're not universal.
So I arrived at the charging station and it was the wrong one for my car.
Yeah, you see, it's like mobile phone chargers. Why aren't they all the same for all the phones and all the makes? And that should be made law. And you can't have this situation whereby, I've turned up with the wrong car here at a charging point. It should all be universal.
It should be, but phones aren't. I changed my phone recently, and now I can't put the headphones that I really like in because they've changed all the jacks. Well, that's just a money-making exercise. You have to then start...
Labour are going to unveil 700 million of taxpayers-funded subsidies.
More wasted money.
To get
because they're really worried that sales of battery-powered cars are flagging. And then there's all these questions about the batteries. You know, and they're being imported from China. What about the lithium batteries? Are they particularly good for the environment? And how long are these cars going to last? And are they destroying the roads?
You can leave your car on charge overnight. You've got a big, important journey you've got to do the next morning. You get in the car and it says, failure to charge last night. You think, why? Because some reason.
They're white goods. They're boring.
I'm sorry, it was
They're
just terrible.
Right. Phone. When you answer the phone, Alex, do you put on a posh voice?
So this is The Sun today, Eamon. Most Brits admit that they put on a posh voice like Hyacinth Bouquet when on the phone. A new survey has found, I love that line, so a staggering 4 in 5 confess to this. Now, I think we should, and I don't know if you guys do it, but I think we should look the other way down the telescope, because when I phone up call centres, I can't understand people. There's no posh English voices on the other end of the phone. And then I have to say, I'm ever so sorry, I'm hard of hearing. What I really mean is, I cannot understand your foreign accent. But I don't say that because I'm too British, I'm too polite. So I say, I'm sorry, could you say that again? I'm hard of hearing. So I think this story should be reversed.
Do you have a phone voice?
I do have a phone voice. My little one says, Mummy's answering the phone, you know. I say my name. You know how people used to say their phone number, didn't they?
Yes.
73739 number.
And we all remember our phone numbers.
I do just say my name, and then I tell people to go away. I don't want to buy their central heating, their plumbing, whatever, because most calls you get now are cold calls, random calls.
No one you know phones you unless it's somebody very old.
Nobody phones you. I don't want people phoning directly. If it's someone that you know, they can send you a message going, do you have a moment for a quick chat? Once in a while, people call. No, I don't.
Have you still got a landline?
No.
No, not now.
No, me neither.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Have the world has changed
I may have to have it for a computer. I'm not sure. I think there's a landline for
like a box somewhere. I think so too.
But what I do know is British Telecom are an absolute disgrace. When I tried to get cancelled 2 phone lines I had in Belfast, you couldn't do it immediately and you couldn't do it together. I can't say I'd like to cancel those 2 phone lines.
Well, that's crazy.
No, you can cancel that phone line and then 3 months later you can cancel the other one.
No.
Oh, and you can keep paying your standing charge for 3 months.
It was like unbelievable.
Ridiculous.
You know, but anyway, that's all of that.
Anyway, my best friend's got a phone voice, and so when you ring her, I don't very often. We tend to text a lot. But if you ring her, she goes, "Hello." It's Anne. Oh, hello.
Well, most teenagers just go, that's what you get. That's a fancy phone voice.
Use the phone as a phone.
Emma and Alex will be back again in 40 minutes' time. We look forward to that. Meanwhile, we now look forward to Catherine Chalk, who's going to give us a wonderful weather forecast. Catherine.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good morning and welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Well, it's going to be another very warm day on offer with sunny spells before turning more changeable as we go through Monday. So through this morning then, we still have some low cloud just hugging eastern coast, but for many it's a warm start to the day with plenty of sunshine, a bit more cloud in the forecast compared to Saturday, and we may see a few showers just bubbling up across parts of Wales and into England. Otherwise, it's still warm out there, highs of 29, 30, possibly 31 degrees, just not as hot as Saturday and always cooler along that eastern coast. So through Sunday afternoon then, there's a few showers just bubbling up across the south of Scotland, but for most it's fine, it's dry with just some low clouds still lingering across those eastern coasts. Across Northern Ireland, initially it's fine and dry, but we have got showery outbreaks of rain soon moving in. So sunshine turning hazy as well for the far southwest of England with some showers here. Otherwise, majority of places staying dry. So as we go through Sunday evening, the return of low cloud across the North Sea and into eastern areas. Otherwise, low pressure becoming more dominant with showery outbreaks of rain moving in from the west and pushing its way north and eastwards. But it's still going to be a warm and muggy night to come, with again temperatures holding up at around 17 or 18 degrees. So Monday is when we start to see the change in our weather. Low pressure becoming dominant. We'll see showery outbreaks of rain initially across Northern Ireland, into western parts of Wales, and then into northern England and into Scotland. Heavy downpours, perhaps even with the odd rumble of thunder. Driest across the southeast, where it will still stay warm but cooler elsewhere. Bye-bye.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed Home Battery Storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Imagine having an extra £1,000 to spend each week for an entire year. £54,321 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to spend however you like. £54,321 in cash could be landing in your bank account this year. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel. In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/your say. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/your say, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hello to you on this Sunday morning. The Prime Minister's facing stinging criticism over a surrender deal with France.
Sir Keir Starmer signed a new migration deal with President Macron. But the Tories aren't convinced, saying it's more about photo opportunities and it lacks substance. Lots of other people warning that the policy is not going to stop a single boat.
What do you think? Let us know with your say today. Since that deal was signed on Thursday, 1,200 migrants have crossed the Channel, at least 300 more yesterday morning.
But the PM is standing firm, accusing the Tories of insulting the French, for heaven's sake, and insists the deal will stop illegal migration in its tracks.
Also this morning, we're looking back at the legacy of Live Aid 40 years on. Well, this hour, we're speaking to a photographer who rediscovered incredible photographs which were hidden in his attic.
And there's another anniversary today. It's actually been 1 year to the day since US President Donald Trump was shot at a rally in Pennsylvania. It was the defining image, some say, of the election campaign, and perhaps the moment he actually won the White House again.
Farmers are furious after they've been banned from watering their crops during the heat wave. Tell us what you think of this nonsense.
And in the US, the search continues in Texas as the death toll rises to 129, but 160 people are still unaccounted for.
A child has died in Liverpool after contracting measles amid public health warnings about the dangers of declining MMR rates.
And could this be the end of the royal rift? The King and Prince Harry's aides, not them themselves, but their people, have held, apparently, a secret peace summit.
It's been billed as a clash for the ages. Carlos Alcaraz puts his status as the Wimbledon champion on the line against world number one Yannick Sinner this afternoon on centre court. In football, there's a Club World Cup final between Chelsea and PSG, and Crystal Palace will launch their appeal to keep their place in the Europa League.
Well, we'll see another very warm day out there today before the heat wave comes to an end. I'll have all the details coming up shortly.
Hello there, very good to have you on board. I'm Eamon Holmes.
And I'm Anne Diamond. And this is GB News Breakfast.
It's a beautiful Sunday morning, and whatever you're doing today, all day, I hope you make the most of the good weather.
Yes, I will be. Except that, the dilemma again. What time do Alcaraz and
Scheduled to be 4 p.m.
4 p.m.
29 degrees, we think, on court today it's going to be.
Okay.
But not as high as the 32 we saw on Friday.
I'll have to go indoors to watch it, though.
Still warm, nonetheless.
I feel guilty not sitting out in the sun all the time. You know, the sun's here, and I always moan if it's not beautiful and sunny.
Well, bit by bit. But imagine being one of those players having to play in that sort of heat. Don't know how they do it, Aidan.
Well, look, you say that, but they're actually trained to deal with that. There's specialist training you can do to play in heat, and it's nothing compared to what Nadal and Djokovic went through back in 2012 in the Australian Open when they played for it, I think, close to 6 hours on court. They were wet through. There was sweat on the floor and everything. It was a brilliant match as well. It went to 5 sets, and it confirmed Djokovic's status as someone who was going to really take the thing by storm.
That's right. It's because it was a hard surface.
Yes.
Their sweat made a little puddle around them,
You can
didn't
see it, and it's a quick...
Sounds like Anne Diamond on her couch this afternoon in front of the telly, sitting in a puddle.
Yeah. Strongly considering air conditioning. Would you? Have you got air conditioning?
I have air conditioning, but I think
for the
now...
first time ever, I'm considering it seriously.
Yeah, no, and I think more and more people are. The way it is like a thing in, say, the United States, I think it's going to be a thing here. And the sun doesn't have to be shining, it just has to be humid, you know.
Yeah, and it's very humid at the moment. Have you got AC?
No, I'm finding that fans are a little bit ineffective, though.
Fans are, but you need proper AC. It's where it's actually chilled.
Probably. I've noticed that some people got those big tubes that hang out of people's windows.
Yeah.
It basically sucks the warm air out and chucks it out of the building.
You've got to have an extraction.
Yeah.
You're just pumping the same hot air around.
I'm getting my car re-topped up tomorrow, aircon-wise. But I have it on all the time.
Yeah.
I think it's my age. I think it gives me...
No, I think it's... Honestly, the climate is getting hotter and more muggy.
I like the wind in my hair, though.
Yeah, you like the wind in... Well, you can still have that. You stand in front of the air conditioner to do that.
Let's get into the politics of the morning. And Sir Keir Starmer is facing criticism, stinging criticism, over what's being branded a surrender deal with France.
The Prime Minister promising a new era of cooperation after he signed his migration deal with President Macron. The Tories, however, have come out saying the agreement's all a load of rubbish because it's about photo opportunities. There's no substance to it, they're saying. And some are warning that it literally will not stop a single boat.
Well, we can reveal here in GB News that more than 1,200 migrants have crossed since that deal was signed on Thursday. At least 300 more attempting the crossing yesterday. The PM's heading back, though, accusing the Conservatives of insulting the French and insisting this will stop illegal migration in its tracks. OK, here's Mike Parry with this. Has it stopped you in your tracks? Mike, I really feel embarrassed even asking you the question. I've never seen anything as weak, as shoddy, as designed as a hugging between Macron and Starmer. I just don't believe it'll do any good.
Well, in 50 years of working in this profession, I've never felt so embarrassed to be British, to be honest, and I've been around the world and met world leaders. And it was almost as if Starmer thought the king of Europe has arrived. Do you know what I mean? I mean, he's only Macron. He's only president of France. France is a failing country. It's got lots of the problems we've got economically, with their own migrant problem, with geopolitical problems with other countries. And yet he turns up in Downing Street, and Keir Starmer, who's supposed to be the dignified Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, a mighty country, we are still a mighty country, was like a little boy grovelling at his feet. You know what I mean? I just couldn't get it. When Macron swans into Britain, he was arrogant, he was bumptious, he decided he'd lecture us on why Brexit was such a terrible mistake, despite the fact that more than half of the United Kingdom population voted for it. And that, of course, has been a big problem for him for the last 8 years. But the way Starmer didn't stand up for us or stand up for our country was pathetic. And you're absolutely right. This won't stop one single migrant coming to this country. If anything, if you read into the responses from the continent, it might even increase the flow, because it opens up yet another channel for people to be able to get here with negligible risk of being taken away again. What I'd like to see, here's a new idea, is that when those migrants are coming over in those little boats, I wish there was a huge boat of our own, a huge liner, almost like a sort of huge ferry, which is parked in Dover, which has written on the side, migrant return boat, so that they would know that if they come to this country and get off and stop on British soil, they'll get shown round the corner, back onto the migrant return boat and taken back to France. But is there any hope in the world that a deal like that could possibly be struck with Macron, with the French, or with the Europeans? Because I can tell you this, neither side want to stop this flow of people. 50,000 now since Starmer got into power. Neither side want to stop that flow.
Yeah, but it's a very interesting point you make, Mike. Could you actually knock on the door of the French again and say, oh, I think you lost all these people. They came across the channel and they've ended up with us, and we're just simply returning them to you. Now, we'd be regarded as villains for doing that, but I was sort of listening to you and I'm thinking, what's the problem? What are you doing that's wrong?
Well, of course, we know what the problem is. The problem is Lord Hermer. He's the Attorney General in this country, and he has a battalion of lawyers, of human rights lawyers, lined up, somewhere on the south coast to make sure that every time, you see, if somebody comes to this country, they've got no identity whatsoever, it's so dangerous to say, oh, well, we'll take them anyway. How do we know they're not Russian? How do we know they're not from ISIS?
We don't.
Exactly. And so anybody who decides to throw his passport or his phone into the English Channel should immediately be taken to the migrant return boat, parked in Dover Harbour and taken straight back, because we are literally putting our country at risk, societally, culturally,
just before we move on, I just want to ask those listening and watching us this morning, do you think Mike Parry is being unreasonable here? Is he being racist here? Has he got a sensible solution? What do you think of what he's had to say today?
Well, isn't it true, Mike, that it has been proposed before that you take, as you say, a huge ferry or an ocean-going an old cruise ship or something, and you don't actually park it in Dover. You don't park it anywhere British, you keep it in the channel and you tow the boats and say, get on that ship. But the problem is letting illegal migrants set foot on Britain, isn't it?
Yes, I agree. The problem is, Anne, there's some very technical problems about transferring people at sea. Do you see what I mean? International maritime laws mean that you've got to have all sorts of rules and regulations, so you can't actually do that. But I saw a fascinating clip last week on this very channel, GB News, where some other mystery boat suddenly turned up with the latest batch of migrants coming over here to pick up the dinghy and take it back to France. We knew that they were always taking back the life vests. They're now taking the dinghies back to be reused. I mean, it is such a racket.
Listen, I thought my old age was getting in the way, and I picked that up wrongly. And I was watching that news report, and I said, no, that couldn't have been right. So the French picked up the used lifeboats. And I'm thinking, well, so a week ago they were sticking knives in one. So I'm thinking, who is of any use to these dinghies except more migrants? Why on earth would they be reusing them?
Well, they're reusing them because the smugglers, they smash the gangs. It's such nonsense. Smashing the gangs mean you're smashing a huge international network stretching from South America through the Mediterranean to this country. They're very well organised. They're filthy rich. They make more money than the drugs trade. You're never going to smash those gangs. But it seems to me that there is some compliance in France. We know this already because the gendarmes stand on the beach and wave bye-bye to the migrants as they leave. There's clearly some compliance now where the boats and the life jackets are being returned, and it's outrageous.
They don't wave bye-bye at all. Au revoir.
Sorry?
They don't wave bye-bye, they say au revoir.
But isn't it interesting, you think, that the Prime Minister, when asked about this and asked about how good this deal is, simply turns round to people and says, you mustn't insult the French?
Oh, unbelievable. Unbelievable. I mean, look, I don't want to get historic and sound like a little Englander, but 80 years ago, our troops actually stormed the beaches of France to return freedom to France, OK? So I don't think we're insulting the French historically, and I don't think we're insulting the French now when they've made it absolutely clear that what's going on is our punishment for Brexit. I mean, for him to come here and suddenly say, of course, you're all so foolish to have voted for Brexit, insulting half the country, more than half the country. Well, I just think it's outrageous. And we know, ever since Brexit, the French have decided to punish us by sending migrants here and little petty things like having to stamp our passports and all that to make life more difficult for us to go to the continent.
Just finally and briefly, if you can, Mike, Keir Starmer's got 4 years of his administration left, and we're tied into that. We can't be challenged, and we can't have a general election unless it's some crazy reason. He's not going to win that election if it was being held next week. He wouldn't win it in 4 years' time. Is this what's going to be his Armageddon? Will this finish him?
Well, look, the political scene's very interesting at the moment. In the last week, we've just been told that Jeremy Corbyn is now deciding to get active on the far left of politics. We've already got Nigel Farage on the far, well, not the far right, for me, on the right of politics, with more Thatcherite policies. So he's got a terrible problem. But he's got such a problem on his backbenchers that they seem to me to be so suicidal. I've read political commentators who know more about it than me that say this government could fall between now and the 4-year deadline for the next election because those backbenchers simply don't know what they're doing and might just crash the government. I hope so. I hope so, because I dread to think what this country is going to be like in 4 years. You made the comment earlier, Eamon, about your friend in the pub yesterday, ruining pubs. They're ruining pubs all over the country. A pub a day is closing down now because Rachel Reeves has simply crashed the economy, and they're picking on pubs because they're an easy target.
The Sunday Telegraph are saying pubs will be extinct in the next 20 years. There we are.
That wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. Mike, thank you very much indeed for your comments. Got people talking, got people thinking today. Let us know what you think. Have your say. Thank you very much indeed, Mike Parry.
Robert says, Eamon and Anne, why would a ferry parked in the English Channel break maritime laws by transferring migrants from unseaworthy boats onto seaworthy ship? And I don't understand, because they already do it when the border force go out. They transfer in the sea.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, the point is, a lawyer will come up with any reason not
That's why
to
you've
help
got to ignore
this
the
crisis.
lawyers. We've got to get to the stage.
You can't ignore the lawyers, can you?
You can't ignore the lawyers. You just pay the penalty for it. So is any politician ever going to be brave enough to do that? Certainly none of the existing parties. No.
We all know who would.
The time is 8:15. Thank you very much indeed for listening and watching Eamon and Anne here on a Sunday.
Now, it's been 1 year exactly to the day since the failed assassination attempt on President Trump in Pennsylvania.
The now famous images captured just seconds after all of this happened. You see a defiant Trump there pumping his fist in the air. He's shouting "fight" as Secret Service agents rushed him off the stage. And many commentators say this was the moment the Republican nominee secured his presidential victory against Kamala Harris.
Yeah, remember all those Secret Service agents tried to get him inside the car, and he wouldn't, first of all. He stood outside the car and kept pumping the air. Chair of Democrats Abroad UK, Kristen Wolfe, joins us now. A very good morning to you. In whatever your politics, it was a moment in history, wasn't it?
It was. It was a dark day, actually, for our nation. Obviously, political violence has no place in our politics, and yet we continue to see it not only on that day, but even just literally weeks ago in the state of Minnesota when two state lawmakers were literally gunned down in their homes. So this is a problem. It's something that needs to be addressed, and certainly we need to have a full investigation to understand what went wrong that day, and we need to make sure then that we learn from that and we do better next time, because this can happen to anyone.
You contrast the two images. At the time, President Biden wasn't looking particularly strong, was he? And we didn't know what was going to happen with him. People were calling for him to stand down from the election, but he hadn't at this moment. And here you see a very strong former President Trump punching the air with blood all over his face. Do you think that moment and that image is what actually won him the election?
No, I don't. I think that there were many factors that came into the result that we saw in November, not the least of which is that we had, Democrats that didn't show up to the polls, and they had reasons for doing that. But nonetheless, we are where we are. I do think, however, that President Biden at the time showed incredible grace and called President Trump. He furthered his security team to make sure that the president-elect at the time, or the presidential candidate, had further protection around him. And that's the kind of a response that we expect to see from our political leaders in times of crisis. I'm not sure that Donald Trump has extended the same level of grace to others in this situation, where we have found, certainly in the state of Minnesota, his first attack was on the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, who was the vice presidential candidate, as you know. So, I mean, there are things that I think President Trump can also learn from this own moment in his life, and how he can extend grace to others.
Grace and dignity, maybe even, wasn't necessarily what the American people wanted. They wanted a man of action, and surely even you can acknowledge that he has gotten off his chair and done things.
Oh, he has. He's done quite a bit. And I would argue that most of what he's done has been not good for the country. In fact, let's not forget that one of the very first executive orders that he issued related to the pardoning of all of the January 6th insurrectionists. And those are the individuals who attacked law enforcement that a fateful day on January 6th back in 2020. He pardoned these guys and women. And that is, a real black mark, I think, on his presidency from the get-go. And it's only gotten worse since then. Certainly, the courts have been ruling against him left and right, in the way in which he is denying people due process in the immigration issue, which we all agree that the immigration issue is something that needs to be addressed, that criminals need to be deported. But what we don't agree is that you snatch people off the street, you don't show them your identification when ICE agents are showing up and banging on doors or showing up at places of employment, snatching people, and then putting them onto a plane. And then when they send them to these countries, then discovering that actually, you got the wrong guy. That's not right. We are a country of laws, and the Trump administration, in that instance, has violated those laws, and the courts are now ruling against them.
Kristen, can I ask you a question? I mean, you'll not want to hear this, but I mean, you say they've got the wrong guy, but in Trump, has the country got the right guy? Now, no, I'm just asking you to think about this. If he could run again, do you think he'd be voted in? And who have the Democrats got? Who are the likely runners and riders? I mean, because we're not hearing or seeing anybody emerging from the Democrat side.
Well, let's first be clear. He can't run again. We do have term limits. And unless he chooses to violate that provision of the Constitution, as he's violating other parts of the Constitution, that won't happen. But the Democrats we have a deep bench of talent that we are seeing emerge. And we had it back in 2024. And we have people that are standing out now and starting to really take the center stage in these conversations about how we deliver for the American people. Because the one thing that Donald Trump has not done in the 6 months that he's been in office is deliver for the American people. He has done a lot to protect his own status within the administration. He has surrounded himself with people who are willing to show undying loyalty to him, regardless of whether or not that means that they have to violate the law. He has dismissed hundreds of thousands of federal workers. I mean, he's taken away veterans benefits. He's taken away benefits from elderly people. So in many ways, we look at this that Donald Trump is actually creating a lot of own goals that we are going to be able to take advantage of. And when we do, you will see people like J.B. Pritzker. You will see people like Josh Shapiro, governor of Illinois and governor of Pennsylvania. They will step to the plate, along with many others. And you're going to hear probably more aggressive messaging around the economy, which Donald Trump has failed miserably on. His tariff regime is chaotic at best. And everyone has now woken up to the fact that a tariff is not something that countries pay. Tariffs are things that the American consumer pays, and they're about to get hit hard in their pocketbook.
Well, very good. I poked you with that one. A very good answer. Very good.
It's lovely to see you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. Nice to be back.
Listen, a pleasure. Anytime. Yeah. Okay.
A couple of people have been in touch saying we mustn't forget, when we talk about it being 1 year since the assassination attempt, one man did die the guy behind Trump caught a bullet, didn't he?
And no one ever talks about that.
No, so it's worth remembering.
The shooter, did he?
He was shot dead.
Oh, yeah.
But the guy who died behind him was a guy called Corey Comparatori. Do you remember? I always remember because it was a very difficult surname to say. Corey Comparatori. And he was shot dead after diving, when he was aware that he dived over his wife and a son, I think. And he was a former volunteer fire chief. And you have to remember that.
It's always the innocent people, isn't it? I mean, as you say, forgotten, never talked about.
His wife says she'll never, ever forget the day and never forget the fact that he died actually really protecting her. So
23 minutes past 8 o'clock. A very good morning to you on what is going to be a very good day. I hope you get a chance to enjoy it. Here we are. We're going to enjoy this forecast from Catherine Shaw. Good morning.
Heavy showers first thing will be followed by a warm, cosy day. Boxed boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good morning and welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Well, it's going to be another very warm day on offer with sunny spells before turning more changeable as we go through Monday. So through this morning then, we still have some low cloud just hugging eastern coast, but for many it's a warm start to the day with plenty of sunshine, a bit more cloud in the forecast compared to Saturday, and we may see a few showers just bubbling up across parts of Wales and into England. Otherwise, it's still warm out there, highs of 29, 30, possibly 31 degrees, just not as hot as Saturday and always cooler along that eastern coast. So through Sunday afternoon then, there's a few showers just bubbling up across the south of Scotland, but for most it's fine, it's dry, with just some low clouds still lingering across those eastern coasts. Across Northern Ireland, initially it's fine and dry, but we have got showery outbreaks of rain soon moving in. So sunshine turning hazy as well for the far southwest of England, with some showers here. Otherwise, majority of places staying dry. So as we go through Sunday evening, the return of low cloud across the North Sea and into eastern areas. Otherwise, low pressure becoming more dominant, with showery outbreaks of rain moving in from the west and pushing its way north and eastwards. But it's still going to be a warm and muggy night to come, with again temperatures holding up at around 17 or 18 degrees. So Monday is when we start to see the change in our weather. Low pressure becoming dominant. We'll see showery outbreaks of rain initially across Northern Ireland, into western parts of Wales, and then into northern England and into Scotland. Heavy downpours, perhaps even with the odd rumble of thunder. Driest across the southeast, where it will still stay warm but cooler elsewhere. Bye-bye.
There will be a light breeze in the morning, leading to a warm front. Boxed heat pumps, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Well, there's still plenty of time to have a go at winning 54321 in pounds. Here's all the details you need.
This is your chance to enjoy luxury this summer. It's our biggest cash prize to date, an incredible £54,321 in tax-free cash has to be won. What would you do with that? With all of that cash, you could just chill out, treat yourself and indulge in the finer things in life, somewhere like here, Downhall Hotel and Spa. You really could win the cash giveaway of the summer. Go on, treat yourself.
For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Oh, superb, superb. We're talking about a book. It's so heavy I can't lift it up.
No, it's really heavy.
Yeah, it's really
beautiful book.
It's a book on Live Aid and the pictures in it, and a lot of these pictures were undiscovered. So the photographer who took all these, his name is Murray Saunders, and we're looking forward to having a real good conversation with him
absolutely.
right after this short break.
Heavy, it's lead.
Very heavy.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
Welcome to the Bakerloo line, where over the last year, 2 years, every single carriage seems to have been just absolutely covered in graffiti. So we're out this morning to try and do what the Mayor, Sadiq Khan, seemingly can't. Let's clean up the tube. Look, these doors used to be covered in graffiti, but no more. See, it's not impossible.
Not impossible it is, because there is so much that can actually be done. And just a few friends of mine, actually a guy called Joe Reeve, who organised this all, he's from the campaign group Looking for Growth. And he got in touch and said, do I want to come? And I was like, absolutely, I bloomin' do. Because I think we can show some pictures of some of our work, which was just on Sunday morning. And it was actually remarkably simple. What we did was we sprayed the graffiti with sort of anti-graffiti spray, eco-friendly anti-graffiti spray, actually, as it is.
I didn't know it was a thing.
A bit of scrubbing, and look, it just comes off. I mean, this stuff is not rocket science. A total lack of imagination, a total unwillingness to do anything about the sort of social decay that we're seeing in our cities in the country at the moment. A laziness, a profound laziness and lack of political will at the heart of the governance of London that means that people are just like, oh, the washing machine's broken, we'll just live with this social decay. Well, no, you don't have to live with the social decay. You can come up with new ways to do things. You can give some people some sponges, some water and some graffiti spray and get that stuff off. It's not impossible. Pull your socks up, Sadiq. Do something about it.
GB News, the People's Channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show. It's not a bad brand. Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
How can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Listen, we're reminiscing today, and we're getting your thoughts on this as well. Live Aid, 40 years this weekend with about this, and we're going to picture a book here, and Murray Saunders is the photographer behind this book, and this book should really not have been. It's amazing what you've got in here, Murray. We're enjoying it very much. We're reliving the day, Anne and I, and tell us about. You weren't an official photographer that day.
Well, no, I'd made an official approach to get a pass. And,
how old were you, 15 at the time?
Well, it's very kind of you, very kind. 24. So from the provinces, I tried to get a pass. I didn't have a hope in hell of getting a pass. So I just applied and bought a ticket.
Were you first in?
No, I wasn't. No, there were thousands in front of me.
Because we're looking at your pictures now.
Yeah.
And you must have been quite close to the front.
No, not at all. No, I was miles back. I was on a 600mm with a doubler, which basically means, a third length of the football pitch.
But difficult to take pictures. All those people around you, 100,000 people or so there.
Well, no, very luckily, a carpenter I knew made me some legs for my tripod so I could stand on the box, up above the crowd. And the other thing with the crowd, not a jot of a problem with anybody. It was the most peaceful,
it was all
beautiful
peace and love,
day.
wasn't it?
But it
really
was. No, it generally was.
And a bit of nudity, which you've had to block out.
Yes,
which is interesting. I didn't realise that was going on in the crowd.
Yeah.
But, so there you are, and you're determined to take so much... Oh, did you do it on film?
Yep,
yes,
everything was on
film.
The biggest problem I made was, or biggest problem I had, but I only took 32 rolls of film with me.
So you ran out, did you?
Well, I didn't run out, but I had to measure every act.
Oh.
So what, 32 rolls, did you say?
32 rolls of 36 exposures.
Yeah, you needed more.
36 exposures.
I needed double that amount.
Yeah.
But it was only when I got there that I realised how big the day was going to grow.
What you've got in return.
Pardon?
I mean, just to say to people here, I mean, you listed the people coming out, and we've got, status quo. We were talking about how they started it off.
They started it off, and apparently Bob... I'm getting boring about it now. I apologise. But some people thought they're not the right people to start it off. But actually, the song they were most famous for was Rockin' All Over the World, and that was the idea of the whole concept. So Bob Geldof said, no, they're starting it off, but also they knew how to play to an arena.
Yeah, definitely.
So they were very good. So
Status Quo, Geldof himself, Adam Ant, Midge, Ure, Spandau, Elvis Costello, Howard Jones, Phil Collins. My God, it goes on and on and on. And then the bit that I'd forgotten about. And it's lovely, and it's featured in the book here. The finale after Paul McCartney, the finale.
Yeah.
Tell us about the finale, what they do, because that was so emotional.
Well, it never happened before, and it would never happen again. Everybody got together on the stage, and there was no egos whatsoever. Everybody took their turn. Families came on. I think Rick Parf had his family on there from Status Quo. It was just absolutely brilliant. But the big problem was, I mean, where'd you point the camera? So I just basically shot the lot.
But what was lovely was seeing them all together, jostling away and sharing microphones. I will notice as we're looking now, there's a heck of a lot of shots of Freddie Mercury.
Oh, he was superb. I mean, the moment he came on, and we, as a family, watched it last night, it was absolutely brilliant.
It was total magic.
I mean, a frontman likes of...
He again knew what he was doing.
Again.
Actually, when you look at the top shot there, oh, sorry, if we can go back or something, is that the aspect you had? You were right behind, really, almost thousands of people.
Yeah, no, I was actually. Yeah,
we can't go backwards, apparently, but so we'll spin forwards and try and get that shot again. But it's of the crowd literally in front of you, and there's masses.
It's about the third of the length of Wembley.
So what happened to these photographs? What did you do with them afterwards when you got home and had them developed?
Well, with all photographers...
Put them to boots?
Yeah. Well, with all photographers, if you know any, they do tend to get a little bit bored with their own stuff. So I put it all in a box, taped it up, and then that was it.
Oh.
And last Christmas, going up to get the Christmas decorations, knocked over this box.
Yeah, that's the shot I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that your...
Well,
it's gone through.
Oh, that's okay. No, that view was actually looking
aspect?
back. That was looking back to show the whole of the ground. But no, I just knocked over this box, and we used to have 100 foot of film, which you used to load your own films, reels from, and
so these
out came a tin.
Have been whiling all these years in your attic.
Well, it's basically 39 years.
Yeah, but they're beautiful shots.
And in the bottom was a folder with all my photographs in. So there we go, all the black and whites.
Murray, let me ask you this: amazing what you've been able to collate, an incredible experience. But were you at any stage, looking at those crowds and ever, able to sort of take your finger off the clicker and sort of enjoy something for 5 minutes?
Well,
no, you were working.
No, not really.
You were working.
No, I was just sort of wired the whole time. I think in between the bands, when they flipped over to America in the latter part, because obviously Philadelphia was running, I think, I don't know, 5 o'clock onwards, but yeah, I managed to have a little time then, but then you were just regrouping, thinking, well, how much film have I got left?
Yeah.
Who's coming on, and how much am I going to shoot on each band? Because it was really crucial. If you ran out on the last one, you'd have been...
if you had it to do again, how many rolls of film?
Well, I'd be taking a couple of 128 gig cards, which would give me 6,000
it's amazing
shots.
how things have changed.
Well, they have. I think they're too. I think the clarity's too much now.
Yeah. Well, did you ever, when you were shooting, were you thinking? I don't suppose there would have been a market for selling them to anyone because there were so many official photographers.
Well, no, I was just on a local newspaper on my day off. I mean, their interest was tepid, to say the least. So I went and bought a ticket and got up there, and the moment I walked round the corner to Wembley Way, that's when it dawned on me, one, I didn't have enough film with me because it was just absolutely packed. Football matches, people flow in. For this, they were queuing up at the front because they wanted to run for the front of the stage.
And you were on your own, were you?
Well, no, I went with a friend of mine, Paul Bernhard, and another one, Phil Tussler. But we were so loaded down with kit. And obviously, when you're doing the reportage stuff outside, you literally can't dump your gear.
They always say that cameramen, when you're behind the eyepiece, you disassociate yourself slightly with,
you're in the zone.
Atmosphere.
Totally in the zone.
You were able to enjoy the atmosphere.
Well, you could, but I was just focusing in on all these things that were just arising that I didn't think would be there. You know.
Murray, tell us about the book, where people can get it, because it's helped us to relive the day.
Yes.
It's so heavy.
It is.
If people want this,
it's the quality of the photographic pages, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, and also Brian May has done you the foreword.
Oh yeah, no, I just.
And Robert Hardman.
Oh, Robert.
The big deal historic author.
Yeah, royal biographer.
Yeah, he's actually written a whole introduction as well.
Yeah. Well, the Brian May story was basically I had a couple of pictures of Freddie and he. Had them beautifully printed with a nice border, put them in an envelope, dropped them off at his place in Surrey with a really nice handwritten letter. Within actually 26 hours, he replied to me in the most personal terms with a full forward saying, I hope this is okay for you.
Lovely.
I mean,
lovely.
The guy's a dream.
A gentleman, isn't he?
Oh, absolute dream.
Well, it's all there. It's Live Aid relived. It costs, what, $29.99?
It does, yeah. And we've taken an unconventional route with selling it. It's not in the bookshops, but you can buy it at a website called Music2U, which is music2u.co.uk/Live Aid.
Okay, you'll find it as well.
Good luck with it.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's good to see you
Brilliant.
both.
It's a lovely bit of nostalgia just going through it.
Do you want to picture anything before you go?
He probably hasn't brought a camera.
Oh, well, you can have our... See, nowadays it's...
We'll do that
during... My producer
said
to me, we can do that during the break. It's a joke. I'm sort of joking to him because he's a photographer. But anyway, Aidan, after the break.
He won't have a camera. Photographers have never got a camera.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dawdney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Here's Aidan McGee. Now, Aidan, the thing is, we were all talking about tennis and Wimbledon and all that sort of thing, but the Lionesses tonight, let's not forget, this is an all-British encounter tonight. Tell us about the Lionesses against Wales.
St Gallen tonight, 8 o'clock. England just need a point to qualify for the quarter-finals.
Is there anything in Wales for this?
Yes, there is. They can sneak in. It's unlikely because they've lost their first two games, but a convincing win over England and other results going their way could see them line up in the quarter-finals as well. And that's their first tournament, their first major tournament. That'd be a hell of a thing, but they're going to have to work their work.
Next question. Can they both go through?
Yes, they can. There is a way they can both
That's
go
what we
through,
want there.
Yeah, well, of course we do, but it's very unlikely. Very unlikely. But, look, let's look at England. They're the holders. Their coach, Serena Wiegmann, has won the previous two tournaments with Holland and England. It wasn't a happy camp going into the tournament. They seem to have ironed out a few issues between the first game and the second game, because I'll tell you what, against Netherlands, where they weren't fancied to win necessarily, they produced a brilliant performance and won 4-0.
Are Chelsea favourites to win in any way tonight, the FIFA World Club Cup final?
No, they're not. They're going to be second favourites distinctly behind the European champions PSG, who've got a wonderful team. They've built a football team instead of a team of Galacticos. We saw them dismantle Inter Milan in the Champions League final just 5 weeks ago, and I expect them to win tonight. However, Chelsea have won already, Eamon, because they've already scooped £92 million on account of getting to the final. There's another £7.2 million up for grabs. Anybody wondering why they went to this tournament, there's your answer.
That's your answer. Talking about finals, the men's final at Wimbledon.
It's going to be a brilliant game, we hope. I mean, hopefully it will last longer than yesterday's women's final, longer than 57 minutes, but it's Sinner against Alcaraz, two contrasting personalities. We love rivalries, we love personalities, and these two have got the lot. 35 days ago, they were in the French Open final, 5 sets. Alcaraz took it that day, but do not write off Sinner because he is an outstanding talent.
Although a couple of days ago he was losing.
He was against Dimitrov. He's also carrying a strap on his, wearing a strap on his elbow. We hope that doesn't impede him in any way in the final, but I'm looking forward to that. That's getting underway at 4 o'clock, and Alcaraz is chasing a 6th Grand Slam in total, a 3rd successive Wimbledon title.
I'm watching that footage we have there, and I always remember as a kid, you would get a tennis racket during the summer, you'd dig one out,
yes, that's right.
and all suddenly become Wimbledon champions playing like that. But I enjoy rally at tennis. I enjoy rally. What I don't like, and what they do incredibly well, are those
aces.
For aces, the people serve. The speed of those things, the viciousness.
But you do still get some amazing rallies, and there were yesterday, even between the two women.
You wonder how, why. Incredible.
Well, you see more. You actually see a few more because they play from the baseline now, because the players are so adept at hitting cross-court returns and forehands that if you come to the net, you leave yourself at risk because it can go either side of you. That's why it's safe to stay on the back line. It's no different to a goalkeeper in football staying on his line. You know how many times we say, "Oh, yeah, you should come out and get that." Well, they do, but they can leave themselves exposed. It's no different to tennis.
Don't talk about, we're getting close to football season again. But when I think, we've got a keeper at United called Onana,
I know,
and all this business about playing out from the back when keepers, so many just can't do it. I can't stand that playing out from the back. But that's all.
Watch football at the level that I watch it in the Championship, and the players are even less able to do it. You know what? And when they're passing left and right, it makes for a poor spectacle.
It really does.
Too many mistakes. Don't like it.
It's very boring.
How the Continentals have ruined British football, I have to say.
Well, they're blamed on Pep, although I think you might say that.
Well, I agree, absolutely. You know, what are they like compared to Brian Clough or Don Revie or whatever?
Well, Fergie likes his wingers. He likes his wingers. He likes to hit on the break. He likes pace. He likes aggression in his players. And it's about personalities. I keep going back to that word, but we like sport. We like a bit of that in our sport, and hopefully we'll see that this afternoon.
OK, well, sadly, we have to say thanks for that.
No, keep our distance from him. Just keep our distance. Keep
But in a moment, Emma Wolf and Alex Dyke are going to join us to get up with some newspaper stories for us. First of all, though, let's have a look at holiday sun opportunities.
Dinner under the stars tonight?
That reminds me of our travel insurance.
You mean All Clear Skies?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Hello, well, there's plenty of hot and sunny weather across Europe, but there are still some showers out there for some of us. Across Madeira, sunny spells, some outbreaks of rain. Canary Islands, a mixture of sunny spells too. Plenty of sunshine across Portugal and Spain, with some showers across the Alps. Across the Greek islands, plenty of sunshine here and feeling hot. And that continues as we go through the week. Plenty of sunshine with temperatures into the low 30s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Patrick Christie's Tonight, weekdays from 9 p.m.
Should we be paying more for the BBC, do you think?
Yes, in the short term. It's for a cost of a cappuccino a week. You don't only get all the television channels, you get all the radio channels, local news, you get the websites, you get World Service, a significant amount of that. You've got a vast range of things. It's not just a television licence. And the BBC licence fee, in real terms, has gone down about 40% in 15 years. What I think we need is two things. One is an immediate increase, significant increase, so we stabilise the situation.
Go on, how much, Roger? What's the fee?
Hold on.
Well, tell me how much.
Then, secondly, hold on. We need to have a proper debate publicly about whether we want public service broadcasting, how we want to deliver it, and how we want to pay for it. The BBC has cut as much as it can. We should now have a public debate about what we want.
OK. All right, the BBC's cut as much as it can. I mean, grief. I would love to try to see the BBC try to operate on the kind of budget.
I thought you were chairman, objective chairman here. It was a head-to-head with this lady, and you were going to be an objective chairman.
Yeah, well, you decided not to answer any of my questions. But anyway, June, I'll put this one to you. Well, what do you think about the money?
Yes.
June, what do you think about the money being paid for the BBC? Should we pay more?
In 2020, you lost 80, let's have a look, 80,000. And then by 2023 to 24, that went up to 500,000 licence fees not being paid. That's because they don't want the product. A lot of the reason is the bias side of the news, which is why people watch GB News. The programme making, I can understand the creative part of it, but what you've got to look at from the public's point of view is they pay their licence whether they're using all those facilities or not.
GB News, the People's Channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Quick romp around the newspapers with Emma and Alex, because we've only got 4 minutes. And Alex, we want to talk first of all about Jeff Flynn, ELO. He's had to pull out of a concert this week and today, and I knew somebody who was going to Hyde Park to see him today at Hyde Park, but it ain't going to happen.
It's not going to happen. This was his last gig ever, so you can imagine how disappointed he is.
77.
77. He's got a systemic infection, so the doctors are saying he can't do it and they can't reschedule it, so he's going to miss his last gig ever. And if you think of the hits that man has given us, from Mr. Blue Sky to dozens of others, it's so sad.
Yeah. It is. Can we look at Kate turning up at Wimbledon?
Yeah, well,
Emma?
someone else who's had their own health battles. It was really lovely to see the Princess of Wales back at Wimbledon yesterday, looking, I thought, resplendent in cream. I mean, she never sets her foot wrong in the fashion stakes, does she? She looked amazing, really happy. She was told by a lovely story, little Lydia Lowe, who's an 8-year-old girl who's learnt to walk again following a really traumatic brain injury, who apparently said to the Princess of Wales, you know, don't be nervous and all of this.
Yes, because apparently Kate said to her, I'm going to go out and present the trophies a bit later. You can see the moment here. I'm a bit nervous about walking out on Centre Court. And the little girl said to her, don't be nervous.
Don't be nervous.
Hold your head up high.
Take deep breaths, yeah.
Take deep breaths.
Take deep breaths, yeah. And we were just reflecting on what a year, really, the Princess of Wales has been through.
Yeah.
I mean, it was only last summer that she was there in purple, looking amazing on the final day of Wimbledon, the final day for the women of Wimbledon, I think, presenting the trophy again. And then since then, she's gone through, you know, had her big battle with cancer and seems to be in a wonderful state now and recovering.
And everybody was so relieved to see her.
Of course, and it's sort of part of Wimbledon, isn't it, that final weekend?
Oh, yeah.
Well, the Royal Box, the lucky...
What a day it's going to be today. In the UK, heatwave temperatures, Alex, soaring to 32 degrees in Scotland and Northern Ireland and Wales. They have recorded their hottest days of the year so far, and you've got a cooling off story.
Yes, so I'm glad you've mentioned this, Eamon, because this is my Labrador buddy, and this is how I called him off on my my glamping site. I got a dustbin full of water, and I put him in there, and I videoed it so all of the viewers at GB News can see it.
Look, what sort of dog is he?
He's drinking most of it there, by the looks
yes,
of it.
he is. He's a black Labrador. He's 13 years old, and it's so hot. I had to do something, and I usually take him down because I'm on the Isle of Wight, so I usually take him down to the beach.
Oh, bless
but
him.
I couldn't. So this weekend, I did this.
Oh,
Look at
he's
that.
lovely. Yeah, he obviously loves
That's
it.
a great idea, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can buy dog pools for children as well. You can buy paddling pools for dogs and dog paddling pools for children and just put them in.
Yeah.
I think it's water.
I did that for my little Ellie, and she wouldn't go near the water at all.
And, you know, I hate having to say this, but, you know, there are just stupid people in the world who put dogs in cars at this time of the year, and dogs die in hot cars, and just don't do it. Just have consideration for your dog as if it was a child or whatever that you were putting.
Well, it's a family member, isn't it?
In there. Adding pollen to crisps make them healthier, Emma.
Yeah, I love this one. So pollen is well known. I use bee pollen in lots of my kind of beauty products, but bee pollen is well known for having antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. But we didn't really know how good it was in food, and apparently if you add it to crisps, it increases the health benefits of crisps. I have to say, it doesn't make the crisp less naughty, less fattening.
No.
You can't just eat loads because they're covered in bee pollen.
It's superfood. It's got loads of no.
Hard luck.
I would think that.
Yeah, no, sorry.
Let's go for that. It's got loads of vitamin B in it and loads of minerals, so yeah.
Thank you. Alex and Emma, just absolute delightful sitting talking to you two. We could do it all day.
Yeah, really good.
Unfortunately, we're out of time, and we're going to go and have a look at the weather picture. We say good morning to Catherine Chalk.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good morning and welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Well, it's going to be another very warm day on offer with sunny spells before turning more changeable as we go through Monday. So through this morning then, we still have some low cloud just hugging eastern coast, but for many it's a warm start to the day with plenty of sunshine, a bit more cloud in the forecast compared to Saturday, and we may see a few showers just bubbling up across parts of Wales and into England. Otherwise, it's still warm out there, highs of 29, 30, possibly 31 degrees, just not as hot as Saturday, and always cooler along that eastern coast. So through Sunday afternoon then, there's a few showers just bubbling up across the south of Scotland, but for most it's fine, it's dry with just some low clouds still lingering across those eastern coasts. Across Northern Ireland, initially it's fine and dry, but we have got showery outbreaks of rain soon moving in. So sunshine turning hazy as well for the far southwest of England with some showers here. Otherwise, majority of places staying dry. So as we go through Sunday evening, the return of low cloud across the North Sea and into eastern areas. Otherwise, low pressure becoming more dominant with showery outbreaks of rain moving in from the west and pushing its way north and eastwards. But it's still going to be a warm and muggy night to come with, again, temperatures holding up at around 17 or 18 degrees. So Monday is when we start to see the change in our weather. Low pressure becoming dominant. We'll see showery outbreaks of rain initially across Northern Ireland, into western parts of Wales, and then into northern England and into Scotland. Heavy downpours, perhaps even with the odd rumble of thunder. Driest across the southeast, where it will still stay warm, but cooler elsewhere. Bye-bye.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed Home Battery Storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
£54,321 cash could be yours. Cash that you could spend however you like. It's like having an extra £1,000 each week for a whole year to play with. Someone is guaranteed to win this amazing amount of cash, so make sure that someone could be you. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Martin Daubney, weekdays from 3 p.m.
French authorities first seized the Lady T, and that's an Eastbourne-based fishing vessel. And next, They fined its skipper, Philip Edwards, €30,000 to release his boat. Now, the Lady T, operating legally under UK jurisdiction, was intercepted by a French patrol ship near the Somme Bay. Now, the incident has sparked massive outrage among British fishermen and is renewing calls for the government to stand firm against French overreach in national waters. Well, I'm delighted to say I'm now joining with Charlotte Edwards, who's the husband. Husband Philip is the skipper of the Lady T and is out fishing right now. Charlotte, welcome to the show. I've got to say, here at GB News, we are hugely supportive and appreciative of British fishermen and fisherwomen. Do a fantastic job. So if you're nervous about the interview, please don't be. I want to ask you how on earth this happened. I mean, there's been a lot of talk, for example, that the Lady T didn't have the correct paperwork, it was fishing illegally, and the French decided to pounce. What's the reality?
The paperwork just slipped through. It was an admin error. The other two boats had the permits, and unfortunately, his didn't at the time. He wasn't in as far in as they said he was. He was about 800 metres in their water. He wasn't near the 12-mile.
He was intercepted by the Pluvier. That's a French Navy ship. No, by the way, the sort of French Navy ships that just seem to give an escort to illegal dinghies coming into British waters, suddenly pouncing into action. The only boat they've managed to stop seems to be the Lady T.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Good morning. The Prime Minister is now facing stinging criticism over the deal that a lot of people are calling is a surrender.
I'm reflecting your views on that this morning. Keir Starmer signed a new migration deal with President Macron, but the Conservatives are not convinced, saying it's more about photo opportunities. Others warn the policy won't stop a single boat.
Now, since that deal was signed on Thursday, more than 1,200 migrants have crossed the Channel illegally, with at least 300 more attempting the crossing yesterday morning.
But the Prime Minister standing firm. He accused the Conservatives of insulting the French and insists the deal will stop illegal migration.
It's been 40 years to the day since Live Aid. We're looking back at the legacy of that amazing concert, and we'll be hearing again from the nurse who inspired it all.
There's another anniversary today, a year since President Trump was shot at a rally in Pennsylvania. It was a defining image of the election campaign. Many say it was the moment he won the White House again.
Farmers are furious after they've been banned from watering their crops during the heatwave.
The search continues in Texas as the death toll rises to 129 people, with 160 people still unaccounted for after the flash flooding.
And a child has died in Liverpool after contracting measles, amid public health warnings now about the dangers of declining the MMR vaccine.
And very shortly we'll be talking about the royal rift, and could this be the end of it? The King and Prince Harry's aides have held a secret peace summit.
Well, we'll see another very warm day out there today before the heatwave comes to an end. I'll have all the details coming up shortly.
On this Sunday morning, a very good morning to you, whoever you're watching, whoever you're listening. I'm Eamon Holmes.
And I'm Anne Diamond, and this is GB News Breakfast. Earlier on, I was saying that Live Aid, when it went out, was the biggest ever TV audience.
Yeah.
And it was at the time it went out. I've been looking up the numbers, and it depends how you calculate it, of course, but an estimated 1.9 billion people in around 150 countries were watching. But the biggest ever TV audience, which would be, it held the record for a long time, the biggest ever was the funeral of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, which got an amazing, let me have a look. Yeah, Live Aid was blah, 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 very, very big. Hang on. And now I can't find
Make it up, because they just make it up anyway.
No, well, yeah, they probably do it. But like I said, here we are. 4 billion viewers estimated watched live the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II.
And you can watch Camilla Tominey live at 9:30 this morning. Let's cross to her live and find out what is in store on her programme. Camilla, very good morning to you.
How lovely to see you on a Sunday morning, Eamon and Anne.
Indeed.
Great to converse with you remotely via Westminster, where I'm going to be interviewing the Transport Secretary, Heidi Alexander. Lots to ask her, not least with criticisms mounting of that migrant deal with France. We've got the new reform supporter, he was a Tory, David Jones, telling the Sunday Express that it won't stop a single boat. An extraordinary story in the Mail on Sunday about how boat migrants have been given crazy golf trips and trips on Virgin Atlantic planes and trips to Fortnum and Mason on taxpayers' cash. So I'll ask her about that. I'll ask her about Keir Starmer's tanking approval rating. I'll be asking her about the threat from reform. Peter Mandelson thinks that Nigel Farage may have peaked too early. So I can be asking her all about that. We've got Chris Philp from the Conservatives. Also going to be speaking to David Davis. Now, he's talking about the move to repeal that Northern Ireland Legacy Act, which would make immune from prosecution any veterans that served in Northern Ireland when it comes to members of the IRA and others that they may have killed. But the other good thing that David can talk about actually is ID cards, because that's now raised its head again. We've got Yvette Cooper, the Home Secretary, apparently toying with the idea of ID cards for migrants. I'm wondering whether Labour might try and introduce ID cards for all, because the narrative around that has changed a bit now that we've got biometrics and mobile phones and things. So lots and lots to speak about. Also going to be speaking to the Ukrainian MP, Alexei Goncharenko, because Donald Trump says he's got a big announcement to make on Russia this week.
Well, so much to talk about there. Heidi Alexander, how could she convince me, and would she convince you, Camilla, to buy an electric car?
I think with very great difficulty. I heard Anne complaining about different charging points and where she can charge and where can't she. I mean, I was offered the idea of getting an electric car a few years ago, and I bought a petrol because, as you both know, when it comes to being a journalist, I can't be in a situation where I have to drive off on a story and not have a charged car, or, God forbid, be on the story and not be able to get back to London.
Yes.
So, for me, EVs are just an impossibility. And the irony is that they aren't particularly environmentally friendly when you consider all of the energy that goes into making the batteries and the components.
Yeah.
I thought people who whinged about electric cars just weren't being enlightened enough until I tried it myself. And we're not ready to be forced
And
into
they might
it.
not even be the future. It might be nitrogen.
Might not, yeah.
Future, you know, or
I'd give hydrogen a go rather
that's the
than
whole thing, and then you'll have Heidi Alexander on again in 4 years' time saying why we should buy those. I mean, the thing is, these guys don't know. It's like Gordon Brown telling us to buy diesel. And I remember thinking at the time, Camilla, diesel? Couldn't be right. Couldn't be right. And it wasn't right.
No, it wasn't.
And of course, there's now that big claim against the likes of Land Rover and others for mis-selling when it comes to diesels and the emissions. The other thing that's going to be discussed, I'm sure, is striking. You know, Heidi Alexander can surely make a comment on the fact her predecessor, Louise Haigh, gave the rail unions that massive pay increase only to be threatened with more strikes. Lo and behold, exactly the same is happening with junior doctors.
Yes. Yeah.
Given 22%, now want 29. So this whole Labour approach of, well, let's kowtow to the unions to avert strike action seems to have completely backfired.
Well, the only thing I'll say to you, Camilla, is they're either owed it or they're not owed it. And when politicians and people like yourself sit there and they say, oh, but goodness me, that totals a 29% increase. But maybe they're owed a 29% increase. Maybe they're 29% behind. And I often think we should listen to that. And if we were in the same position, what would we be saying? I don't think these educated people are sort of taking on a strike just for the good of their health, really.
Well, also, they claim that junior doctor phrase is quite misleading because it makes out as if it's only the newly qualified. It actually takes all doctors up to when they're at consultant level. However, the counter-narrative is, Eamon, that they do have very, very good pensions these days. You know, the average junior doctor now, I believe, is on over £100,000, and questions need to be asked about the cost to the NHS. We've now got reports in the papers this morning saying those waiting lists that are on 7.4 million that Wes Streeting, the Health Secretary, has desperately tried to get down, are now going to go up again. So at the end of the day, you've got taxpayers paying the wages of junior doctors that are in turn making it more difficult for the likes of you and me to get appointments at doctors' surgeries and hospitals, and indeed to get their operations done in time. If you're waiting 22 months for a hip replacement, you're probably not going to be particularly sympathetic with people on six-figure salaries staging walkouts.
And please, please, please ask your politicians how they can possibly justify telling farmers not to water their crops.
Oh, I know. It's absolutely ludicrous. As if farmers haven't had a difficult enough time since Labour took power, and now this. I mean, anyone who watches Clarkson's Farm knows how much adversity they face. So, yeah, another ridiculous policy.
Yeah, tell the water companies to dig more holes in the ground. That's what they should be doing.
Yeah.
Camilla, lots to look forward to there. We will make off and be watching you from 9:30. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Now, I wonder what you think of this, because this is a rift in the royal family. Is it worth trying to pursue it and heal that rift? King Charles and Prince Harry's senior aides have reportedly held a secret peace summit, marking the first significant move to resolving their highly publicised family feud. Was it any good, these people meeting?
Well, they did it at a private members' club in London, and
yet we know about it, so something's been leaked.
Yeah, and if so, who by?
Yeah.
Inside sources say the initial step is in restoring the broken relationship. We can now talk to, who can we talk to?
Richard Palmer.
Richard Palmer, yeah, royal correspondent Richard Palmer. Richard, we were just making out, in whose interest is it to leak this story?
Well, that's fascinating, isn't it? I certainly know that there's a changed view in the Sussex camp. Harry and Meghan employed a new team of communications people about 3 months ago, and there's very much a willingness to engage with parts of the British media that they've not really been talking to for 5 years, and. I think they're all very cagey. If you try and talk to anybody on either side, they're always really cagey about trying to heal this rift. But, Harry himself made it clear in a television interview in May that he wanted reconciliation and that he was just fed up with all of the arguing over it. So I certainly think that their camp wants reconciliation. On the King's side, you get mixed messages. I mean, round about that time, there was very much there was the anonymous royal sources were saying, how can the King trust Prince Harry and Meghan if he keeps repeating private conversations, and yet. I think the Buckingham Palace has played a pretty straight bat to this, and I don't think they've ever closed the door to reconciliation. And, it's been my personal view for a while that eventually this will happen. I'm not clear, I don't think anybody is yet, how significant this step is. I mean, as I understand it, Meredith Mains, the new communications chief for the Sussexes, was coming over to London to meet contacts, talk to her new London team as well, and some meetings were arranged. I think it, at the very least, it shows that there's a willingness for the officers of both sides to talk. And amazingly, that hasn't really been happening for a long time. There was a time when they used to coordinate things, even when the principals weren't speaking. Their officers would coordinate and say, for example, just to let the Duke of Sussex know, we're going to be making an announcement about the King's health tomorrow, and then even that stopped. And so Harry himself, he doesn't know what his father's prognosis is with his cancer treatment.
Yeah. But Richard, the thing is with everything, and Anne was making this point earlier this morning, it's got to be about trust. Who can you trust and who can you not trust?
Well, that's the other side of the argument, isn't it? And neither Buckingham Palace nor the Sussex's office was commenting last night on this story, which is a fantastic scoop by the Mail on Sunday. I mean, it's got pictures of these people meeting. And yes, I mean, depending on how this came out, it could also destroy that early bit of bridge building that's been made.
I mean, the Mail on Sunday may have got it exclusively, but it will have been leaked deliberately to them by somebody, won't it? And you can only imagine who.
It's entirely possible that it was leaked. It was leaked on purpose, and you know, I certainly know that there's a desire to change the narrative, and actually, the Mail on Sunday has been writing quite a lot about reconciliation attempts there, and I think that's interesting in itself, because that paper has been one of the fiercest critics of Harry and Meghan, and yet it's changed its tune over the last few weeks.
But can I be really cynical? Because I know a lot of our viewers will point this out as well. The Sussexes have run out of steam. They've run out of stuff to sell. Well, they've run out of information. He's already written Spare. She's already talked about things on podcast. They haven't got anything else to say. But if they had a new chapter starting about, you know, mending the bridges between the royal family and themselves, that's a whole new book, isn't it?
Well, that is quite a cynical view, but I mean, it's an interesting view. I mean, I certainly think that they've got a big PR problem over here. They've lost the support of large sections of the British public, and the American public are showing signs of getting a little bit bored with them. Although I have to say, Meghan's business efforts seem to be doing really well, and I think they need to get a larger part of the British public back on side with them, and so reconciliation with the family would help.
You say them, Richard, but you know, I think it's her. I think they're more likely to come on board with the Prince and accept him, but she's going to take much more work for the British public to accept her, I would have thought.
Well, yeah, I think you're probably right there, Eamon. Certainly the polls suggest that neither of them is very popular, but particularly Meghan has got a problem. Again, you know, as we always say, it varies. Younger people, people from different ethnic backgrounds are much more.
The point is, it's going to take time, isn't it?
Well, Richard, sorry for putting you in the corner, asking you all these questions, and it's a Mail on Sunday story. We're just repeating it today. The talks are taking place. Who knows where they're going or if they'll happen again? Richard Palmer, thank you very much indeed for your input. We've got to leave it there. Thank you.
And at 9:15, there's still plenty of time to grab your chance to win 54321 in pounds. Here's all the details you need.
This is your chance to enjoy luxury this summer. It's our biggest cash prize to date, an incredible £54,321 in tax-free cash has to be won. What would you do with that? With all of that cash, you could just chill out, treat yourself and indulge in the finer things in life, somewhere like here, Downhall Hotel and Spa. You really could win the cash giveaway of the summer. Go on, treat yourself.
For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Now, earlier in the programme this morning, we spoke to a nurse who inspired Bob Geldof and Midshare to feed the world. Amazing woman, amazing story to tell. 40 years since Live Aid. Next.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more.
Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Join me, Nana Okoye, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Do you remember where you were and what you were doing 40 years ago to this very day? So many of us were glued to our tellies to watch something called Live Aid, and we'd never seen anything like it before. It was actually the genius of Bob Geldof who got it all going, because he watched the original report done by BBC reporter Michael Burke, and he thought what's happening in Ethiopia, the terrible famine,
and he
was
spoke to a woman called Claire Bertsinger, who worked as a nurse in Ethiopia.
Absolutely. She worked out there. She had to make life and death decisions all the time, and she was only young herself.
Well,
anyway, a bit earlier on, we spoke to her. She's a dame now, and quite rightly too.
And she's a hero. Here's what she had to say. Forgive me, Claire, but I didn't know you existed, and you didn't know, really, that you'd existed and achieved so much for 20-odd years, I hear.
No, that's right. No, because after Ethiopia, I was so... people were saying, they'd seen me on the television, they were saying that I had a fantastic job and how wonderful saving all those people when I came home. I was there for a year, you see. And I said, no, it was awful. I felt vilified. I felt it was my fault that all the ones I turned away. And because they weren't listening to me about the reality of the situation, I decided to just stop talking about it for 20 years. And it was only on the 20th anniversary, when I was contacted by the BBC to turn, that I went back and saw what Bob Geldof had said, because they'd filmed him. And I thought, oh, wow. And I thought he was the only person who really empathised with what I had said. He understood about the suffering and all those who had died.
And that's why he wanted to do something. But your words at the time were that it was absolutely heartbreaking, your job, because look at all those people, and there was no way you could had enough food to help them all. So you had to make a decision about, well, little babies for whom the food might save their lives, and other little babies who were already gone, really.
Yeah, it was terrible. I can remember one day in particular where I discharged several children, and I had room for 50 or 60 more, and I only had 500 in the feeding centre. And outside the feeding centre, I counted 10 rows of children, And in each row there was 100 children. That's 1,000 children. And I had, 50 or 60 places. How was I going to choose? And I said to the local Red Cross people who were working with me at the time, you better go out and choose them to come in. And they said, we can't do that. That's our brothers, our sisters, our cousins. We know them. You're going to have to go and do it, Claire. So we got together and decided that they would be put in lines, and I'd go up and down the lines to look at everybody and just take the ones with sort of a spark of life in their eyes, because I knew the ones who were really severe just wouldn't survive the night.
I know when Michael Burke rocked up with his television crew, you weren't terribly enamoured with him, really. You weren't very impressed. But in the end, you realised that he asked the questions and got the answers, and it made a difference.
It certainly did, yes. He said something like, how does it make you feel choosing who can come into the feeding centre and who you're going to turn away? You know they won't survive. And I thought, what a stupid question he's asking. What do you expect? It breaks my heart. And I couldn't get rid of them fast enough, because I had, screaming kids around, some wanting to feed, some not wanting to feed, with diarrhea and vomiting. And so I just got rid of them as fast as possible.
What a hero.
What an
That's
inspiration.
It from Anne and I. I'll see you in the morning for GB News Breakfast. You have yourselves a good day.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good morning and welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Well, it's going to be another very warm day on offer with sunny spells before turning more changeable as we go through Monday. So through this morning then, we still have some low cloud just hugging eastern coast, but for many it's a warm start to the day with plenty of sunshine, a bit more cloud in the forecast compared to Saturday, and we may see a few showers just bubbling up across parts of Wales and into England. Otherwise, it's still warm out there, highs of 29, 30, possibly 31 degrees, just not as hot as Saturday, and always cooler along that eastern coast. So through Sunday afternoon then, there's a few showers just bubbling up across the south of Scotland, but for most it's fine, it's dry with just some low clouds still lingering across those eastern coasts. Across Northern Ireland, initially it's fine and dry, but we have got showery outbreaks of rain soon moving in. So sunshine turning hazy as well for the far southwest of England with some showers here. Otherwise, majority of places staying dry. So as we go through Sunday evening, the return of low cloud across the North Sea and into eastern areas. Otherwise, low pressure becoming more dominant with showery outbreaks of rain moving in from the west and pushing its way north and eastwards. But it's still going to be a warm and muggy night to come, with again temperatures holding up at around 17 or 18 degrees. So Monday is when we start to see the change in our weather. Low pressure becoming dominant. We'll see showery outbreaks of rain initially across Northern Ireland, into western parts of Wales, and then into northern England and into Scotland. Heavy downpours, perhaps even with the odd rumble of thunder. Driest across the southeast, where it will still stay warm but cooler elsewhere. Bye-bye.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed Home Battery Storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Britain's Newsroom, weekday mornings from 9:30.
An amber heat alert remains in place across all of England until Monday morning.
Well, joining us now, GB News reporter Jack Carson. Jack Carson, where are you? Tell us. Oh, he's rowing. Jack Carson, what a go on.
Good morning.
Good morning. Well, we're in the beautiful Stratford-upon-Avon, so we were on the big wheel earlier on, and one of the other beautiful things you can do is also row on the river as well. This is the Avon Boating Club. This has been going since the 1800s, 1898 it started. This boat over here on the right, that was bought brand new all the way back in the day, so it's historic here, and a lot of these boats are from the likes of the 1930s as well, and it's just absolutely beautiful. And it's this beautiful sunny weather. Here we are on the river. I've never rowed in my life before, but I think I've got the hang of it okay. But let's have a listen to a few of the people we've spoken to this morning about how they're enjoying the weather today.
Yesterday I did start to think, right, I'm getting a bit sweaty and hot now, so yeah, but it's nice, isn't it? As long as there's a breeze, it's not too bad.
Can't beat it. Literally the best thing ever. Yay!
They make the most of it because the winter was terrible this year with all the rain, so this is payback.
It makes us feel better, doesn't it? Bit of sun on our bones. It really does.
Enjoying the weather, Will? Nice? Sunny? Chatty? Well, there you go. That's what some people have been saying to us this morning about how they're enjoying the weather. I think I've got myself into a bit of a pickle. Hopefully we're not going to capsize. I think other people might be a bit more experienced in the rowing.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel. Good morning and a very sunny welcome to the Camilla Tominey Show on GB News. It's been a busy week with the red carpet rolled out for French President Emmanuel Macron. But is the one-in, one-out migrant deal already doomed to fail, as more than 1,200 small boat migrants have crossed the Channel since it was signed? Transport Secretary Heidi Alexander will join me. I'll be asking her about that deal and why the economy appears to be shrinking on Labour's watch. I'll also be speaking to Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philp. Do the Tories have a credible plan for stopping the boats beyond Rwanda? And how would they get the welfare system under control? So